Chasing Big Joe on this Tuesday. Good afternoon, everyone. I bet you're wondering, we just got Chase back. Where is he? We don't know. We'll discuss that here in a second. We are broadcasting today from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville Studios, home of the $99 yearly BI membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Nute, Nick Frazier here with you, at least for a couple hours before Chase gets back from where he is.
And parts unknown.
Today, where he is at a conference meeting in Rayon City discussing how to make candles.
Oh,
how cool is that?
I like that.
I heard Mike Oregon set him up for it.
Yeah, well, Mike is known to do stuff like that. You know, Mike loves the whole candle making situation. You know, he has a special type of wick that he found.
Really?
And he told this company about it and told the class, and then Chase like, oh my goodness, this is groundbreaking.
He'll be here at 2 to discuss. We'll have to ask him just how cool it was.
It's like they dip the wick in the wax and then they coat it with different type of wax. It's pretty neat. I was impressed.
I heard he's been telling us he's trying to start his own candle making business, Serenity by Chase. So we'll see how that goes for him.
Yankee better watch out.
Serenity by Chase.
That's good.
I mean, that was wasn't in the Office where it was Jan's candle making company and it was Serenity by Jan.
Oh man, great shows.
Great show. Glad you're back. We know you missed yesterday. Yeah. How are things?
Doing pretty well. Just for the listening audience, had a little bit of a family emergency, so everybody's good. I guess I'll update you guys at a later point, but just want to give that point of why I'm here today, which is good. So just get my mind back on some things, but overall doing well and just ready to talk some sports, man.
We got a fun show today. There's a lot of things we want to get into. Tim Hasselbeck would join us at 1 as usual. It's Tuesday. How about this? At 2 o'clock, when Chase comes back from candle making.
Yeah.
WWE wrestler, AEW wrestler, Nashville Cats owner, or part owner, and he's going to come in to talk about the Dark Side of the Ring documentary. Jeff Jarrett will be in studio with us for a full hour.
Love that. I freaking love that.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
I've never met Jeff, so I'm going to try and compose myself.
It's pretty cool.
I grew up watching Jeff, so that'll be interesting. But let's start with this, since it's you and me. MLB All-Star Home Run Derby last night.
Beautiful.
Jordan Walker gets it done. The first Cardinal in history to win the Home Run Derby, which really puts a lot of things in perspective, given the guys from the Cardinals that have participated in that. Albert Pujols, Mark McGwire, which I could not believe Mark McGwire didn't win one.
I think that was the year it was in Milwaukee, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And there was Sammy Sosa that was hitting 500-yard bomb or 500-foot bombs. I'm just like, holy cow.
That was a performance from him last night. Like, it got to a point where, all right, he's basically got to make contact with every single pitch he gets here. 6 straight homers to take the lead. And Philly booed the living hell out of him, and it was awesome.
That's the one thing I liked about Jordan Walker is that under pressure, guy did not phase him. He was not phased at all. And, you know, I thought the strike zone for him, it's always wide open, but the fact that Tehran found not Tehran Davenport, but Tehran, the coach.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. That'd be
Tehran Davenport throwing pitches.
That would be pretty neat. But no, they found his strike zone, which he liked it high and kind of middle of the zone, high middle. I mean, you saw Junior Caminero, who kind of fluffed himself a little bit, 4 or 5 home runs, and that's how Walker ended up advancing, hitting 6 in the semifinals. There's a little bit of a controversy in the first round with Caminero with that foul ball. I don't know if you saw that or not.
Yeah.
But it was fair. I think the umpires messed it up a little bit, but it is what it is.
It was fun. I enjoy the new format. I like that there's no timer. I'll tell you one thing I didn't like. The camera angles on Netflix were beyond horrible at points.
Why? Why are we doing 75 million cameras? There's no need for that.
You need 3, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Get 1 behind home plate, 1 in left field, 1 in right field.
Yes. Down the first base and third base line.
Yep.
Exactly.
That's fine.
I did not appreciate the drone. It was the StatCast drone camera. Why are we doing that?
It's dumb.
I was telling you and Brando before the show, like, if you're going to do something like that, make sure you have a stabilizer or a gimbal you can put underneath the drone so the shot is stable and it's not all over the place. I was getting like seasick watching it.
Yeah, but it was fun. I enjoy the new format. I had fun with it. I'm excited for tonight. The game tonight. Isn't it tonight?
Yeah, ALNL. Yep.
We're going to have to dual screen because I think World Cup comes on tonight too, right?
Afternoon, 2 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll be here.
It's Spain and France. So that's
the game I've been looking forward to.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one.
That's going to be a fun one. 2 of the bright young stars in soccer. Lamine Yamal and Bappy.
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 Look at old Bappy.
Neither of them could compete in the MLS, though. We all know this.
Too good.
They're not good enough. The MLS is America's league. Therefore, it is the best league in the world.
Did you see the whole MLS situation that happened on Twitter about how somebody was complaining how MLS is not advertised enough, saying that their, I guess, season is coming back into swing.
I would agree with
starts this
that.
Friday. They had the entire World Cup just publicize that. Why are we not doing that? Like, if you're trying to really grow the game the right way, and that's after each game, or even buy an advertisement during one of the hydration breaks. There you go. Oh, MLS is coming back July for the Nashville SC. It's the 17th on Friday.
Soccer people are cringing me out right now.
Yeah, and I'm right there with you.
I'm not going to single anyone out, but there are teams out there that are posting, hey, soccer fans, if you're looking for a team, come support us. In response to the whole John Strong, find your local team thing. And I'm like, stop forcing it down my throat. Let me naturally come to you. That's what she said. But that you got to figure things out. It's not just something you send the house on and expect people to come over to you.
Right.
It's got to be a natural attraction.
Yeah.
And I don't have that because you're forcing it on me.
It's genuine. It has to be genuine. You're right. Like, for me, watching a certain player, like I was telling you and Brando before the show, if you find a certain player you enjoy watching, then you follow that team. Or if there's a team that you like their colors, whatever it may be, go follow them. Like, I'm with you. The forced upon narrative, it needs to stop, because we all know that football is king. We all know baseball kind of comes before soccer. Like, it's third, fourth fiddle at this point. You know what I mean? I mean, just keep it the way it is. And I'd say keep it the way it is, but just like, keep being a genuine advertiser for the sport, not a force feed it down the tube.
I mean, you don't see any other sport doing it. Hockey, I told you, they're kind of in a similar boat in terms of fandom. Like, in America, it's a growing sport. I would say hockey's probably in a better situation than soccer is, but still. But you don't see them going, hey, go support your local NHL team. I just find it incredibly cringy and forced. So you got to let it naturally happen. In football, you don't see your local NFL team say, hey, come. Well, you do, but hey, support us because we're trying to grow the sport. A, because they know their worth. They know you're going to find a way to watch football. But B, they know what they're doing. It's not forced. It's not cringy. And I think soccer needs to figure that out. 615-737-1025. Since it is the Chase and Big Joe show, I've had fun with this. I was in charge of it yesterday, too.
Yeah.
I wanted to take a little bit of a load off of you just to have you relax. So our question of the day, it has some rules to it, actually. Our question is, what is your dream concert? And I'm going to set some rules on this.
Okay.
It can be across any era, so you can combine eras if you want to. Have an opener and a main attraction.
Interesting. Oh, man.
I think that's a fun one.
That is a fun one. I really got to think about a good lineup here. Oh, my goodness. Obviously, Luke Combs is involved. That has to be just stated. If I'm talking about concerts, Luke Combs is in the concert here.
Or we could go three. An opener, like an interlude act, and then your main event.
I'm cool with that.
Okay, let's do three.
Can we go deceased and also living, or just all living?
Yep, across anywhere.
Let's go for the opening act. Let's go Luke Combs. All right. I know it sounds kind of odd to open up, but go opening act, go Luke Combs. And if I can, we'll add a little Ella Fella in there as well. Maybe she kind of does a combo song with Luke Combs possibility. The main, not the main, but the middle one, I would go for a middle act. Let's go a different genre. It's going to be kind of odd, but let's go like a Kanye or a Lil Wayne. I got a little rap up in there. And that's not the best combination to country to rap. And then maybe wrap up the night with the one and only Prince.
Okay. This is tough because I kind of want to fit genres together.
I know. Like if they can gel, but it's hard.
Yeah. Okay, I think I'm going to go Boyz II Men opens.
Oh.
I'm going to go Bruno Mars as your interlude.
Okay.
And then I'm going to have Michael Jackson as the main event.
Yeah.
That's a perfect concert. You're not beating that. No. You're not topping that. Brando, what is your perfect concert today?
It's funny because I just figured out, I always kind of knew this, but we have pretty similar taste in music. We like a lot of the classics.
Yep.
I think mine is going to be pretty similar in terms of the genres as well. I'm going to go New Edition to start out with my first one.
Oh, yep.
Second one, I'm going to go Prince.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to cap it off with Michael.
Mm-hmm. No Gap Band in there?
I actually did think about it. I really considered it because obviously we have the whole thing with Outstanding, but Gap Band actually has a really good catalog of music outside of Outstanding.
As long as I can get Charlie Wilson, Pharrell Williams,
Justin Timberlake,
and Snoop Dogg to perform Outstanding. That's a fantastic lineup. 615-737-1025. What is your perfect concert? Give me an opener, an interlude act, and your main event. We'll get into your answers coming up next right here on 102.5 The Game. Welcome back in, Chase and Big Joe on this Tuesday, sponsored by the Omni Nashville Hotel. Connor Nute, Nick Frazier, Brandon Bigsby in with you. Chase McCabe off in Rayon City making candles
with special wicks.
He'll be here at 2, along with Jeff Jarrett. Stay tuned throughout the show today, as we've got some tickets to give away to the Music City Grand Prix. You can listen for your chance to win a family 4-pack of tickets to the Bruschetta Bourbon Music City Grand Prix at Nashville Super Speedway this Saturday and Sunday. We'll give those out later in the show, but right now we are discussing today's question of the day, which is, what is your dream concert? Dead or alive, you can get anyone on your stage. But I want an opener, I want an interlude act, and I want a main event. For me, it is Boyz II Men opening, Bruno Mars as your interlude, and Michael Jackson as my main event. For Frazier, it was
Luke Combs and Ella Langley combo action.
Okay.
And then for the middle act, you have Lil Wayne or Kanye. And then the main event, you got Prince.
See, this was hard for me because I could have totally gone hairband, which is my other love. If I were to do that, I would go Motley Crue open.
Okay.
Get us a little kickstart in my heart. This is tough. Van Halen in the middle, and then Def Leppard closes.
That's a good little lineup there.
Yeah.
The reason why I mentioned Luke Combs, Ella Langley is because Luke Combs obviously has a few mixed songs with a few other country music artists. Same with Ella Langley, has Big X the Plug.
Yeah.
So you think
Luke Combs has Big X the Plug.
That's right. Maybe he comes out in the opening act. That'd be kind of cool. You have the middle act of Lil Wayne and Kanye. Lil Wayne obviously was a part of Young Money. So Young Money, you got Nicki Minaj, Drake, and a few others. Tyga, I think, was in there.
Yeah.
So you could, maybe have a little bit of a reunion in some sorts, the middle act, and then the final act is Prince. I mean, you can't beat that, right?
You can't.
So,
I mean, many people would think.
That's
why we're going to get to their answers. But for you, I don't think you could beat that.
Yeah.
So there you go. Let's get to some of your answers. 8395, Led Zeppelin, don't need an opener or an interlude act. Well, that's not what I asked, but okay, I'll take it. Benjamin says The Weeknd, Prince, and Michael Jackson. Okay, so you're kind of going with that same genre. I like it. 4312, Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains, and Soundgarden.
Hey,
I would reverse that. I would have Pearl Jam as the main event, but that's just me. This is an interesting one. Caleb says NSYNC, Morgan Wallen, Michael Jackson.
I'd be okay with that.
I would too. I love NSYNC.
Think of this. NSYNC, if they were to do a collab or whatever they call it, a remix with Morgan Wallen for a song to just kind of mesh things together for the concert, that would be pretty cool. Because I know Florida Georgia Line did that with Backstreet Boys and Nelly.
Mm-hmm.
That was in 2017 at Bridgestone Arena. It was for a Cole Swindell concert. I was like, that right there is awesome.
That lineup is like a good breakfast, just well balanced. I mean, you're hitting on pretty much every genre you possibly can. A little bit of country, a little bit of pop, a little bit of old school. I like that.
Yeah, you're getting your proteins, you're getting your carbs, and you get a little bit of sugar.
Fruit in there.
Yeah.
Who's telling me to shut up? That's mean.
Oh, that's not nice.
Yeah, it's not nice. Nevada Josh says, I'm going to have an opening act to my opening act. Cat Williams and Kevin Hart stand-up comedy to get the vibe going. Ryan Upchurch opening act. Bruno Mars with Michael Jackson. And then the main act to end the night will be Tupac and Biggie on stage together. See, I didn't think about combining people.
Yeah, I would have changed my answer a lot if I knew we could do that.
I didn't specify, so I guess that's my fault. But
I was going to say I would have had Bruno with Michael.
Oh, absolutely. That's another question I've been thinking about is what would be the greatest duet of all time? That would be my answer.
Yeah, me too.
They would fit so well together.
I think you could throw The Weeknd in there with Michael too.
It'd be either those two or Garth and Luke Combs. I think they would work really well.
Yeah, that'd be a pretty good one now that I think about that. I mean, I think everybody in country music obviously wants to see the Luke Combs Morgan Wallen combo. I mean, they've kind of done that once before, but
did they?
Like a feature or something like that.
I don't remember that.
I'm sorry. They covered each other's songs. So that's what it was. Yes. And they probably want to see that live in concert.
I want to see them do a song together.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. It is interesting. Let's see. 3337. The Doors open, Pantera in the middle, and the Highwaymen finish because you get Johnny Cash, Waylon, and Willie in that whole bunch.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting.
The Highwaymen. Forgot about that.
Let's see, 2341. I'd have Pink Floyd open for the Beatles with a Johnny Cash interlude. Can I give you a musical hot take that people will come after me for?
Don't you say it.
I stand with Robbie Stanley.
Don't say it.
The Beatles are overrated.
Oh,
I agree.
What is wrong with you both?
They have a few good songs, but in terms of them being seen as like one of the best bands of all time, I can't get behind.
They were generational. I had a junior. I was a junior in high school, and shout out to Mr. Purrier for this. Our second part of the semester, we had it was an English class. It was strictly just Beatles history. It was fantastic. Learned everything about each one of them. Ringo, George, Paul. I mean, you learned about every single one of them. Liverpool. I mean, they talked about being on, the late shows and all that stuff, and how that transitioned. I'd have to strongly disagree. I mean, that is a staple in music.
That's just my opinion. I'm not a huge Rolling Stones guy either, so take that for what you will.
Okay.
But, I consider myself a old soul when it comes to music. That stuff's just not for me.
It's fair. I mean, you don't get Hey Jude without the breakup of Yoko Ono and John Lennon. Thank you. I couldn't even think of the name. But you don't get the Hey Jude song without that breakup. And let's be all honest here. We all know Yoko Ono is the reason why they all kind of broke up in shambles.
Yeah.
So
see, I only like some of their older stuff. Hey Jude, Here Comes the Sun, Let It Be. That's really the only three that I can say that I genuinely like from the Beatles.
I'm trying to think if any of those were on the Yellow Submarine album. If our listenership can help us out there, maybe.
They're not bad. Don't get me wrong. But I'm with Connor. I think they are severely.
They're just not for me.
Yeah.
It's just not for me. But there are people I love that are not for everyone. So
it's fair.
Everyone's got their own thing.
That's what's great about music.
It just threw me off hearing Beatles slander. Wow.
No, this is a great one right here. 3797. Huey Lewis and the News open.
Okay.
Eagles interlude. Temptations main event.
Ooh.
That's a great one.
Ooh. Yes.
I'm jealous of the people that went to Eagles at First Bank because it was crazy expensive.
Yeah.
And I couldn't go. But I heard it was a damn good show.
I think the Eagles are performing at Nissan Stadium, if I'm not mistaken.
They should.
I think they're the last band to close out Nissan for a concert.
I would do Eagles, but I'd have Vince do some of his stuff too.
I mean, yeah, if you're in Nashville,
you have to.
Yeah, you have to.
They are playing at Nissan Stadium September. Oh, never mind. It confused me.
Yeah.
It confused
I knew exactly what you were talking about. The actual Eagles, yeah. No, they performed. I think it already happened, so never mind. Oh no, that's First Bank.
In May.
There's another one that happens in September. I'm trying to figure out where that is.
Do not rely on Google for anything, kids.
I swear it was like September 29th. I could be wrong. I'll double check that during the break when we get there. But no, I swear the Eagles are performing sometime soon.
Would you do like a crooner show? Like have like Dean Martin, Frank Sinatra, and
give me the Rat Pack.
Yeah,
man. Give me the Rat
whole Rat Pack.
Give me the Rat Pack. Throw in a little bit of Tony Bennett if you can. I mean, if I could add a little bit
Frankie
of
Valli.
Yeah, maybe. Add me some Pavarotti, some Bocelli. I'm in, man.
I could just see Frazier doing like a full Italian opera show.
When I was a kid, like
Andrea Botticelli,
my grandparents would pick me up from school in their like what was it, teal color Mercury, and it was like a land yacht. And we come home and we'd be listening to 90s country in the car, then get home and turn on the radio. And she had this little like CD player, my grandparents did, and it was just Pavarotti, Bocelli, and the Gaylords. I will add the Gaylords into that as well. They're fantastic, staple in Italian American culture.
I'm trying to think of other ones. I'm surprised there's not as much. Like, where's Nirvana?
That is true.
Would you watch Nirvana?
I think they'd be great to add on to this list.
I would absolutely do Nirvana. Let's see. Where's Tim? Well, someone said NSYNC. I would do NSYNC. I wouldn't do Timberlake.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the main attraction, though. So it's just going to be what? Lance Bass, Chris Kirkpatrick.
Well, Timberlake's in there.
Yeah. Oh, I think you said NSYNC without Timberlake.
No, I'm going to do that. No.
I was like, wait a minute. What's going on here?
I wouldn't do Timberlake by himself. Okay. I would have NSYNC together.
Yeah.
We just have Lance Bass, Joey Fatone,
and Chris Kirkpatrick.
And what's his name? JC. I forgot his last name. It's those four.
Yeah.
No Justin. Which JC is, I would argue his voice is better than Justin's.
Yeah. JC
Chavez.
Yeah, Chavez. That's his name. Yeah.
I would argue his voice is a little bit better than Justin's. But
it's possible.
Justin was the cute one. We understand. 7606, Tupac, Mike Hoochie, okay, and Toby Keith.
Toby Keith, I totally forgot. Like, that is one that should be in a lineup.
He should open with courtesy of the red, white, and blue to get patriotism flowing.
Sure. Maybe add Kenny Chesney into that lineup too. Like, that's the thing with having Luke Combs, L. Langley. It's very modern right now, but if I were to go like old school country, it's got to be like 90s country. Got to be Toby Keith. I mean, Alan Jackson just had this concert here recently, so maybe add Alan Jackson to the prime Alan Jackson. I mean, this for me list could go on and on and on. That's a great question of the day. Fantastic. I mean, the text line's blowing up as always. It looks like you have some supporters here for the Beatles, saying the Beatles are the most overrated band of all time, 4312. So
look, I don't hate on them. It's just not for me.
Yeah.
I'm worried that I got here by reading this middle name. Is that a real person?
I'm not seeing the text you're looking at, but
yeah, I did. I'm sorry.
I just didn't hear it. I didn't hear what it was.
I'm sorry. I don't think it's Joe, but it's someone uses. I don't know. I'm sorry, everyone.
It's all good.
I did my best.
No need to apologize.
I did my best. Anyway, 615-737-1025. Keep these coming. We'll get to these throughout the program. But coming up next, On3 revealed an interesting list today. It is their top 10 NIL. What's the term that they use?
NIL value?
No. Hold on.
Projected value?
Yeah, I guess something like that.
There you go.
But it's across all sports. So there's some SEC representation on there. We'll get to that coming up next, right here on the Chase and Big Joe Show on 102.5 The Game. Chasing Big Joe on this Tuesday. Connor, Nute, Nick Frazier in with you, at least for the time being. We are awaiting Chase McCabe's daily report, or not daily report, his report on his candle making class that he's taking over in Rayon City right
I
now.
wonder what candle, like wax candle color he chose.
Chocolate.
If we're calling what Chase's Serenity, is that what the candle?
Serenity by Chase.
Serenity by, what's a good Serenity color? Like a light blue?
Yeah. Or like a lavender.
A lavender. I was thinking more of like a soft green.
What do you think his candles smell like?
I think they're pretty potent in a good way. I would say like
roses.
I think a good like cinnamon, like pumpkin spice could go something that direction. Or we could go like I don't know, a summer vibe. I'm trying to think what's a good one, like a peach flavor or a mango flavor scent that you can mix it with, like, I don't know, whipped cream or something.
Yeah. Well, he is out making candles. Then again, he might just be down the hall.
Possibility.
That's a possibility.
I think adding cinnamon to anything really does bring out a good flavor.
It does.
Like there's a bacon cinnamon candle that I have smelled before. Bacon cinnamon. It's like candy. You guys ever had candy bacon? No candy bacon.
Nope.
Oh, you get brown sugar. So basically you fry the bacon. Delicious, by the way, delicious. Then you just put a little bit of some brown sugar on it on a pan inside the oven. It gets nice and like that sticky texture and crunchy. It's fantastic, dude. This is the best like little snack to eat for a Sunday brunch or anything. It's the candied bacon. You got to have it.
You would definitely try that cinnamon toast crunch bacon. You would try that, wouldn't you?
Hands down. Bacon on anything is just wonderful. It's like Beans from Even Steven. You guys remember that show?
Yep.
Yeah.
Beans had bacon with everything. I think we're all in that same boat. Bacon is great with everything. You ever had pancakes with bacon bits?
Yeah.
Wait,
in the pancakes?
Yes.
No.
You guys have never had bacon inside the pancake. It's fantastic.
Well, I got in the last segment, so everyone's letting me know about that one.
Gotcha.
Hey, you're back. How is the candle making? Chase is back.
All right.
Yeah.
Love it.
Anyways, let's get to more of your responses here on our question of the day. B-Man on our greatest concert of all time says Limp Bizkit, Nickelback, and with Garth.
Oh,
that'd be good. This is one I knew, a female artist I knew would come up, and I'm very glad that she did. Open with Bob Marley. This is from 2882.
Okay. Whitney
Whitney Houston, Jimi Hendrix closes.
Oh,
That'd be awesome.
that would be cool. Jimi Hendrix, one of the best guitarists of all time.
Mhm.
I mean, that's a good way to end the night. It
Mhm.
really, and there's something about an electric guitar that just amplifies, and pun intended with that just amplifies the music and just the mood of the concert in general. So having Jimi Hendrix to end it all out, fantastic job.
3 totally different vibes of all 3 of those too. You kind of get different flavors of music with that.
Yeah, but like we talked about earlier, I feel like that all gels well, man. Like,
Yeah, it still gels.
I feel like Bob Marley could do a good little like gelling song with Whitney Houston that would gel into Jimi Hendrix. Be fantastic.
Nevada Josh said, if we're following the rules, which I didn't specify the rules, you can combine whatever you want, but he says if we're just going individual, he'll go Linkin Park, Aerosmith, Michael Jackson.
There you go.
Lots of Michael love today. I really appreciate that. Okay, so let's talk about actual sports now.
Yes, would love it.
On3 today has posted their top 10 in NIL valuation. Now that means how much each player is collecting. This is across all sports. And I found it really interesting because a lot of this comes from the SEC and a lot of it comes from the sport of basketball. So number one, who do you think the number one collector in NIL is this season?
Arch Manning?
He is not on the list.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Oh man, number one on the NIL list. Football, all football?
Number one is football.
Okay. SEC?
ACC.
ACC. Who in the ACC is collecting a check like that?
It's all about the U.
Okay. Who at the U is still there? Oh my goodness.
It is a new player.
I go ahead. I won't get it.
Darian Mensah.
Oh, that's right. The transfer.
Collecting $6.5 million this season.
Oh my word.
Which is just jarring. Number two, shout out Big Blue Nation, Milan Momcilovic, transfer from Iowa State, playing basketball for Mark Pope this season.
Okay.
Ironically, the rival is at number 3, Louisville, their center, Flory Bidunga, who played at Kansas last season. Number 4 is also a quarterback, and I think he could possibly go number 1 in the NFL draft this season. Do you know who that is?
Number 1 in the draft this year,
Mhm.
Jeremiah Smith.
Quarterback.
Quarterback.
But in the Big Ten.
Okay. Let me think about this for a second. Out west, Dante Moore. That makes sense.
Collecting $5 million.
Okay.
Milan and Flory, I should have said, are both collecting $6 million this season.
Good.
Jeremiah Smith is 5th. He's collecting $5 million. Number 6 is St. John's. I always butcher his name, but it's Tonde Yosefu, collecting $5 million. Thomas Howe for Florida, collecting $5 million. Number 8 is your arch enemy at quarterback in the SEC.
Just disgusting.
Do you know who it is?
I'm going to go with Trinidad Chambliss.
It is Trinidad Chambliss, collecting $5 million. Then Masamba Diop for Gonzaga, also collecting 5. And this is one that's interesting to me. Guy that hasn't played a single game yet, Tyron Stokes for Kansas, getting $5 million. Unbelievable.
That makes no sense to me. Why would you give somebody that much money and they have not proven anything yet? Like that, to me, that's what makes the NIL so aggravating to me, is that you go and give players X amount of dollars and they've done nothing, man. Like, look, I'll be a candidate. If you want me to be a tax write-off, I'll be a tax write-off. I'll go out there and, fill up the water bottles for $5 million. That's what that is. To me, that's what that is. When somebody is highly sought after and they've done nothing, they're filling up water bottles to me and folding the towels.
It's wild to me. But I think the point of this list and the reason I brought it to your attention is it just shows the direction we're going in college sports. There are no guardrails. There is no salary cap. You can pay anyone anything you want. So $6.5 million for Darian Mensah, who I would argue isn't necessarily a top 3 quarterback in the country right now. They can do that. Milan Momcilovic, who is a fantastic shooter and one of the top players in the portal, you pay him $5.5 million. There's no guardrails. So until we have guardrails and until we have a salary cap and until we have things that we have to follow, it's going to continue to be this way. It's the same reason we're talking about recruiting being the way it is. Tyron Stokes is on this list making $5 million, hasn't played a single second of college basketball. He could, go out game 1, tear his ACL and not play again. And still he would be guaranteed $5 million this season.
I have a question for you. And it's based off of kind of what the MLS does. They have designated players. Could you see college athletics basically designating 4 spots on the roster, basically meaning 2 offense and 2 defense, to where I would say an uncapped commission, but like an X amount of dollars? Obviously, there's no CBA, there's none of that, but like, I feel like there's a rule somewhere where you can kind of implement that without having to go through the government and all that.
So like a player pool?
Yeah. Basically, you'd have 4 players on each roster that would be able to get paid. Let's say the maximum or whatever the big number would be, over $5 million, $5 to $6.5 million. Say that there are 4 players on the team that can get that. The rest of the roster can get, I guess, a lower salary or whatever it may be. I don't know. Something to kind of help even out the playing field a little bit. I feel like that would be something you look at college athletics and say, wait a minute, like that might be a good idea for college football to have 4 players, 2 on defense, 2 on offense, and then that kind of equals out the playing pool. I don't know. That's just me.
It's interesting because you're not just allocating for one player. You're allocating for what's the max, 83. Yeah. Now, some of those guys aren't going to get paid. Some of them are walk-ons, but at the same time, you're trying to allocate for a 83-man roster, and everyone's got to get some. Now, some will obviously get a bigger piece of the pie than others. Like Darian Mensah getting $6.5 million, I would imagine, which is kind of shocking to me, his wide receiver Malachi Toney isn't on that top 10. So it's position-based is what, at least in football, is what it is. Basketball is a little bit positionless. You just kind of go out and get the best player. It's why Momcilovic, who plays small forward, and Flory Badinga, who plays center, are in the top 3. Because it's positionless. You're just going out and signing the best players. But, football is position-based. And did you notice something about which position in football occurred on that list the most?
Quarterback.
A young quarterback. The toughest position to play in sports. In football, no matter the level, you are as good as your quarterback is. So, look, Darian Mensah, like I said, not convinced he's a top 3 quarterback in the nation, but he's paid like the best. He's a good quarterback. So Miami obviously sees something in him, and they're going to give him a bag to prove that.
But you know what? Good for a guy like Mensah at Miami, because when you go to the NFL, you're not getting that money. We all know the rookie deal is going to be a little bit cheaper. Like last night, prime example, Jordan Walker on his little rookie deal, that cheap deal, $729,000 for the season. And yet he won the home run derby, which was how much? $1 million. So he made 125%. $1 million.
Yeah.
There you go. He made 125% of his salary last night, which is just crazy to think. So like that kind of applies that a little bit. You look at Mensah and say, oh, I'm getting paid what, $6.5 million. I go to the NFL. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, it's interesting. And Jeff on our text line makes an interesting point that I didn't say, but I think we were all considering it. They hand out the amount of money because it doesn't come out of their own pockets. That's true.
Yeah.
It comes out of the university fund. And they do that because there's no guidelines.
And the boosters.
And the boosters. They can sign a blank check from their boosters and their donors and whatever's coming out of their athletic fund because no one can stop them right now.
Mm-hmm.
When we get to a point, hopefully we do get to a point where there is a cap and you can't spend all the money in the world, then that's a different conversation. But right now, they do it because, as Jeff says, it doesn't come out of their own pocket and they have nothing to lose. There's no sanctions going to be put on them for paying someone a blank check.
Yeah, and it just obviously the concern of the unknown in this case, because like, yes, these guys are getting paid a lot of money, but at the same time, like, does that hurt the future of college football? Which I think it does. It doesn't teach these young student athletes the core values of what you're there for, and that's to learn. You need to have a backup plan. If I'm a football player in today's day and age in college football or even college basketball, playing a basketball game, I would be a financial advisor. I would be studying in economics and learning the nuances of tax breaks, learning the nuances of how to manage your money and put it in some form of like a Roth IRA or something along those lines. Starting your own brand. If there's a way you could hire your own family on and they can somehow collect a check from you as your own brand. It's just something like that should be emphasized more for these student athletes.
615-737-1025 is the phone number. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at 1025 The Game for live shows and exclusive content. We're also talking football offseason, which our coverage on 1025 The Game is presented by Tennessee Brewworks and Palmer Tractor and Equipment. Coming up next, the AP preseason poll is expected to release in mid-August. I'm curious of your gauge on that. Who do you think will be number one? And also, we'll go with the local teams. Where will Vandy and Tennessee be ranked on the AP poll? We'll discuss that coming up next here on the Chase and Big Joe Show. Connor Nute, Nick Frazier filling in here on 1025 The Game. Welcome back in. Chase and Big Joe here on 102.5 The Game. Nute and Nick Frazier filling in for Chase McCabe, who will be here shortly. He is still off. Well, he's back, but I think he's assessing things in his office on his candle making day. Or maybe he's working on imaging. One of the two things.
He's going to light the candle.
Yeah. That's why it smells like bacon and cotton candy around here.
Cinnamon.
Serenity by Chase. The new candle company.
Little Michael Jackson in the background.
You'll find it in Target soon.
Also, that reference I just made was a golf reference as well. Jordan Spieth, when he would go up to the tee box, somebody would yell out, "Light the candle." It was pretty funny.
This is when I need Christian, because I would have never gotten that. This Sunday, 102.5 The Game will have live coverage of the Bruschetta Bourbon Music City Grand Prix race at the Nashville Super Speedway. Coverage begins at 5 p.m. and is brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, and Big Shots in downtown Nashville. And you know what? Because I'm in a good mood, let's give those away. 615-737-1025. Caller number 3 will win a family 4-pack to the Bruschetta Bourbon Music City Grand Prix. Good luck to you, and I apologize to Brandon Bigsby for making him do this. All right, let's talk a little bit of AP poll. According to Brett McMurphy of On3, the preseason top 25 AP poll will release noon Eastern on August 17th. He says, plan your outrage accordingly. Who do you think will be number 1 this time next month?
I think it will be, crazy to say this, Miami.
Miami?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe Miami.
Why is that?
Just because of the trajectory they had last season. I know they're missing a few players here and there, but they're, I would say, the favorites in the ACC.
Yeah, I would agree with that for sure.
I know there are a lot of better teams out there. You could put like Ohio State or a Texas, but
I would go Texas at number 1.
If you always, not always, but if you go back and look at some of the college football top 25s preseason, that is, there are a lot of teams in the top 5 that should not be there. And sometimes they get lucky and they stay in the top 5 or top 10 because they just win and their front part of their schedule is kind of easy. But then you go back and look and say, oh, they probably shouldn't have been up that high. And then they lose one game and drop like 12 spots just because it shows their true colors. So that's my projection. I think there are better teams out there though.
Yeah, man, I would probably say Texas is my number 1. I think they have on paper the best constructed roster in the country. They're at least going to be top 3. Ohio State has an argument for me. Georgia, I think, has an argument.
To be fair, going back to our conversation we had, 2 Mondays ago over at John Daly's?
Last Monday, yeah.
Sorry. Time's crazy.
I guess you're right.
Whatever. 2 Mondays, 1 Monday, doesn't matter. It was on a Monday.
It was a Monday.
At John Daly's, we were going through the SEC and the best teams out there. I mean, I'll redact what I said about Miami. I'll go Georgia because I still think they're going to go undefeated.
Really?
Yeah.
I could see it. Not that I think they have the most elite constructed roster in the country, but I don't doubt Kirby Smart anymore.
The schedule position is just crazy. You have Western, TSU to kind of really, boost the energy in the locker room, and then you go on and play, eventually Auburn, Florida on the back half after the bye week, and they're just a lot of winnable games for them. Yeah. Sure, they have 1 or 2 that are a little difficult, like a potential of Alabama, but minus that, I think they can really take it to them and go 12-0.
If it were me doing the top 3, I would probably go Texas, Ohio State, Oregon at 3. I think that would be my 3. And then you'd have Georgia probably number 4.
Okay.
They're at least a top 5 team. Where do you think you would put Ole Miss in this conversation?
I think maybe like 8.
That's where
7, 8, or 9 in that 3 range of those numbers. They proved a good bit. Obviously, Trinidad's coming back, but I wouldn't put them high enough in the top 5 because if you do that, then again, like I was mentioning about Miami, there are teams that are in the top 5 that just continue to win on their schedule and they stick around. When they lose that one game, it shows their true colors of dropping.
Yeah,
I think Ole Miss is in that category.
I think Ole Miss is I agree. They're 8 or 9. I think Indiana will probably be in the top 10. I don't know if they'll be in the top 5, but I'd put them in the top 10. A&M, I think, has a conversation of being in the top 10. Alabama, I think, would be outside looking in.
Really?
The top 10. Let's see.
Why is that? Just the expectation of the unknown for them?
Yeah. I mean, you've got a freshman quarterback starting. You got a pretty tough schedule, actually. I don't know. Alabama to me just isn't the same Alabama that they once were. And I think a lot of people can say that. Where would you think Vanderbilt or Tennessee would be ranked?
I would say one of those two teams is in the teens. I would probably put Tennessee at like 18 or 19.
Mm-hmm.
Vandy, unfortunately, because of the loss of Diego Pavia and just the back end lack of success with the bowl game, I'm not trying to put too much of a factor into that. I would probably put Vandy at maybe at 25, if not 23.
Yeah.
And again, these two teams, correct me if I'm wrong, Connor, but I think they're pretty equal for the most part. I mean, you might give the slight edge to Tennessee, but I would say it's pretty even Steven for the most part.
Yeah, they're comparable for sure. I think I would have Vandy on the outside looking in of the top 25. They would be close, maybe like 28, 29, something like that. Tennessee, I would put them at like near the bottom, maybe 22,
Really?
23.
Okay.
They're just not super impressive to me. I think they've got some games that they've got to prove themselves in. Like you've got to win that game at home against Texas to solidify yourself as a top team this season. You've got to beat Alabama. Games like that. I don't know. They just don't particularly impress me with their roster construction. And, quarterback is interesting to me because I think they're going to start Faison Brandon as a true freshman, which we'll get into quarterback rankings here shortly. But I don't understand the construction of their team. I understand the loss of Chaz Coleman is probably going to hurt that defense a little bit, but I don't think he plays football this season. So I don't know. Their roster construction is interesting to me, and I don't know if it benefits them being in highly ranked in the AP poll.
My big question to you, and it's the Catholic boys up there, and that is South Bend, Indiana, and that's Notre Dame. Where do you see them on a top 25 AP poll?
Top 10.
I'm sorry, top 10, excuse me.
Top 10. Well, let's see. If I got Texas, Ohio State, Oregon in my top 3.
Because this is a team that missed out on the playoff,
I would put Ole Miss in the top 10. I'd put Indiana in the top 10. So that's 5 teams. I would put Notre Dame at 5 or 6.
Okay, I was about to say, are they touching around the 5-ish range for you?
I would say so.
Okay.
Yeah. I would put Georgia at 4, probably Notre Dame at 5.
Yep.
Indiana at 6. Let's see. Ole Miss would be in that 7, 8 range, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I'll put them at 8 for the conversation. Texas Tech, I think, would be borderline top 10. I'll put them at 10.
Okay.
I'll put A&M at 9. That leaves me at 7. Oklahoma, I think, would be outside looking in.
Okay.
Maybe they're like 11 or 12.
A&M?
A&M I would put at 10.
Okay. Oregon?
Oregon's top 3.
Okay.
LSU? LSU would be at 7. There you go.
Okay.
And that's their lucky number, isn't it?
It is.
That's their number they use. So LSU's interesting to me. They've got a tough start to the schedule, though.
They're a wild card team.
Yeah.
And just in the sense of obviously everybody knows what Lane Kiffin brings to the table. They know that the transfer portal has been a big opportunity for them that they've capitalized on. But when you go to the nitty gritty of it all, and that's when he was at Ole Miss, he never could get over the hump of beating Alabama.
Yep.
And so you wonder if there is that effect when they play Texas. Can he get over the hump with Texas because of what Steve Sarkisian has kind of built there in with the Longhorns? Can they go on the road and beat them in Death Valley? That's the big question. And if that does happen to where Kiffin does get over that hump, then I think we can all hush about his, expectation. At that point, it's late in the season, which we all can understand. But I think that's the true test for them all season long.
615-737-1025 is the phone number. College football season's getting closer. We're about a month away from the preseason AP poll being released.
Can't you just taste it?
I can taste
it. The barbecue.
We're near this is when I start to get excited because you've got a couple more weeks before training camp starts. Once we get there, that's when things start picking up. So
just hear the ball hit the gloves and you're running down.
We're almost there.
The cleat.
I'll tell you when the turning point will be. Probably this weekend when the World Cup is over.
It's true.
That's when we'll start. I mean, we'll still have baseball going on, but that's when we'll start really focusing in on football.
Let's ramp it up, boys and girls.
I'm excited about it. Speaking of football, coming up next, ESPN NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck will join us for his weekly visit here on the Chase and Big Joe Show on 102.5 The Game. Hour number 2 of Chase and Big Joe here on 102.5 The Game. Nute and Nick Frazier filling in for Chase and Joe. Chase off making candles in his office. Joe is on vacation this week. Hey, racing fans, don't miss this. 102.5 The Game and the Bruschetta Bourbon present True American Racer, the Bobby Rahal story, this Friday at the historic Franklin Theater. Experience the story of an Indy 500 champion, team owner, and racing legend, plus a live Q&A with Michael Colley, Graham Hall, and special guests. Get your tickets now at franklintheater.com. It is 1 o'clock here on a Tuesday, which means we welcome in our next guest, ESPN NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck. Tim, how are you?
I'm doing great. How you guys doing?
Doing well. Hey, so I just wanted to ask to start things off. Obviously, yesterday, a list of top 10 quarterbacks was released. Josh Allen, number 1, Mahomes 2. You can go on and on. Cam Ward not receiving any votes in that list, and I don't think that's surprising. But my question to you, Tim, is what can Cam Ward do this season to get votes and get praise and get national recognition?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is production, right? Everybody that's on that list has, at least at some level produced, with some type of consistency where people say, look, he deserves consideration. And then even with that being said, there are guys, that have won Super Bowl rings that or been to Super Bowls that didn't make it onto the list. So I think what I would say is, look, you've got to produce. Just because you produce, it doesn't mean, that you're going to end up on that list. But, in order to be considered, a top half of the league quarterback, I think people are expecting to see seasons where there's, 4,000 yards passing and over 30 touchdowns. And, if you do that, then I think you'll get people's attention.
Well, there was a Titan on another list that was given some recognition. Peter Skoronski was ranked the number 9 interior offensive lineman, according to a list put out by NFL executives and scouts. Does this signal to Titans fans and to the franchise as a whole that he's deserving of a new contract?
Well, I mean, when you get league recognition, that definitely is it's a signal of what your market value could be, right? Fan voting's one thing, but when it's, kind of an anonymous poll or, inside the league poll on things, then, you can see just how the league would view somebody. And, if the league views somebody in a certain light, then, and he's in your organization and you don't want to lose good players, then I think finding a way to make something work, makes sense.
ESPN NFL analyst and Innsbruck Tigers head coach Tim Hasselbeck is along with this. Tim, when it comes to some parts of the defensive side of the ball for the Tennessee Titans, it was reported by Paul Karski about 4 days ago about Femi Oladejo's spring practice absence of his injury of his hamstring. When it comes to the ideas and what Robert Saleh has mentioned about these next 40 days when they had their time off was very important for young players. Well, one, especially being a guy like Femi Oladejo, not being, I guess, healthy through the rookie minicamp along with the spring practices. How is he able to build off of this with having that little nagging hamstring injury previously?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, that's one of the things that I feel like NFL head coaches are so concerned about is, their soft tissue injuries, and the setbacks on those are brutal just because it's just time and reps away. And then, when you talk about, there's typically a break before you come back to training camp, and, every team kind of runs the gamut in terms of, some guys maybe overtrain, some guys, undertrain and, never get off the couch. And so I think really what you want is just, maturity by your entire team in terms of how they, take care of their bodies and prepare and get ready for the season. And if you're a guy that's coming off of an injury, especially a soft tissue injury, doing everything you can to make sure that it doesn't pop up again. And, I feel like we've hit an era of pro athlete now where, guys are spending a lot of money on their own bodies to take care of themselves. And, you hopefully have built a team culture of guys doing that.
Yeah. And adding on to that, looking at how the Titans have drafted in that little defensive positioning groups, you have Keldrick Falk from Auburn. You go and grab Jermaine Johnson in free agency. You go grab John Franklin Myers. You bolstered the edge rushers and interior defensive linemen. Do you look at it as more of a backup plan for a guy like Femi Oladejo with the additions of those players, or do you look at it as a replacement plan?
No, I mean, I think that it's probably I think in a way it's maybe developmental, thought process originally, but I don't think that, and we talked about this, I don't remember when it was, a couple of weeks ago, where basically it's like they clearly, like guys that had been with, coaches on this staff before, especially guys, you mentioned Jermaine Johnson, like, somebody that's been an edge rusher and a productive edge rusher. Well, like there's probably a thought and an expectation and a plan. But, when you draft a player, especially when you draft a player high, and it's clear that you are addressing that position, both in free agency and the draft, I think all options are on the table in terms of opportunity. I really don't think that, outside of quarterback, I don't think that teams view position players in a way to say, look, he can't come in and compete right away. You might have a thought like, yeah, it might be a year away, might need to get stronger. Certain things you need to work on. But ultimately, look, I don't care if you're a 5th round draft pick, a 7th round draft pick, a 1st round draft pick. I do think that in my experience, most times guys are given a chance to compete and have a legitimate role on the team.
Well, speaking of that, Tim, I want to ask you about the role of Tajay Spears. Obviously, he hasn't really delivered on an NFL level to the point he was expected to, being drafted in, I believe, 3rd round. Mm-hmm. What kind of role do you expect him to play this season, especially with the drafting of Nick Singleton this last draft?
Yeah, look, I like Spears' game. I think there's an element, it's a little bit like if you looked at Pollard when he was at the Cowboys, it was like, oh wait, there's something here. There's a different energy to how he runs. He's maybe a little bit better on some of these perimeter runs of, and they would try to create opportunities like that for him. I think that Spears has got to be kind of the same way. Like, I think he's got to, I think there's got to be at least a niche that he has in terms of certain things that he can kind of bring to the table, in both the run game and the passing game, in terms of, just a certain energy or ability to do it well. And I think when you look around the league, when you look around the league at certain positions, tight end, running back, wide receiver, teams that can say like, all right, this guy can do this. So I don't care if you're a tight end. Look, if you're a tight end and you can do certain things, you're going to play. Mercedes Lewis played nearly 20 years because he's good in line blocking, wide tight end. Even teams, you take the Philadelphia Eagles, for example, when they got Saquon Barkley, he still would come off the field because they would identify a back, that was good as a 3rd down back. And then similar things happen, obviously at wide receiver. So I think that's important as you're trying to figure out who you have on your roster, is just figuring out what guys can do. And, I think it's partly the responsibility of the coaching staff, but it's also, responsibility of the player kind of step up and produce.
Yeah, it seems like, Tim, the responsibility of the players for the Tennessee Titans when it comes to wide receivers, tight ends, and quarterbacks, guys like Cam Ward, Carnell Tate, Gunnar Helm, and so forth, seems like they're holding up their end of the bargain with this time off, because there was a video that was, I guess, tweeted out yesterday on Twitter, and it was Carnell Tate, Gunnar Helm, and even Xavier Restrepo was out there throwing balls with Cam Ward in Miami. So it just seems like they're holding up their end of the bargain, and it seems to be promising at this point as well.
And it's kind of funny. The NFLPA is basically, bargained for players to have more time off in the off season. And it feels like, this, mid-July time period is when every quarterback, posts on Instagram his little, get together that he's
right.
Yeah. His team. And so, it's why the owners didn't really care to give guys, like, fine, you want time off in July? Sure. Go right ahead. we'll keep more money, and you guys will end up working out together anyway. Listen, I would just say this. I think more than anything, it's a good sign of leadership when when a starting quarterback wants to get guys together, and then guys show up to do just that.
Yeah, and adding on to that, when it comes to a player that's a tight end in this case on this video and on Twitter, it's Gunnar Helm. And I've been very excited about the optimism surrounding his name and his involvement possibly with this offense. Obviously, you get Daniel Bellinger that's been with Brian Daboll previously in New York. But seeing him catch passes from Cam Ward with the rest of the wide receivers during this down period is, I'd say, a promising thing for this offense. It shows that there's a potential aspect of versatility, including the tight end position.
I would agree, and I think there'll be varying types of tight end, which is how they've already addressed the team, and it's a little bit what I was saying about kind of understanding your role. Not every tight end is exactly the same. Guys have different skill sets, and so look, if you look, it used to be you would get the best matchups with a running back on a Mike linebacker. Now the length and athletic ability of tight ends oftentimes is the best way you can create matchup problems in the passing game. And so when you have versatile tight ends, it opens things up quite a bit.
We'll have more with Tim Hasselbeck coming up next year on the Chasing Big Joe Show, brought to you by the Omni Nashville Hotel on 102.5 The Game. Welcome back in. Chase and Big Joe here on this Tuesday. Connor, Nute, Nick Frazier filling in for Chuck and JoJo. We are joined by ESPN NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck. And Tim, I'm curious of your opinion on the Pittsburgh Steelers this season. They're a team I'm very unsure about, being as they obviously bring back Aaron Rodgers. They trade for Michael Pittman, but I don't know how much that elevates them over the rest of the teams in the AFC North.
Yeah, I'm not sure it elevates them over the teams in the AFC North. And I was surprised that they ran it back with Aaron Rodgers. I do think Pittman helps, especially when you consider DK Metcalf in back, because I think DK, was really good there. Now, when he was suspended for those 2 weeks, I think it really exposed Pittsburgh, which is probably why, Pittman was a priority. And I do think that Aaron Rodgers probably gives them their best chance to be successful this season, when you consider the quarterbacks that they had on their roster. I just, I'm surprised they decided to go that route. But, yeah, when you look at the division, look, I think it's fair to say, like, maybe he's the third best quarterback in that division. The roster, isn't necessarily better than other, rosters in that division. So, that's why it feels weird when you kind of run it back with a 40-something-year-old quarterback, and you wouldn't even be you might be the third best team in the division. That's somewhat of a curious decision in terms of how you kind of plan for the future.
Tim, I saw you on TV yesterday talking about free agents, and one of the free agents you brought up was Deebo Samuel, and a fit with him would be the Los Angeles Rams. Is that a fit that you think could – obviously, they're in their Super Bowl window right now. They're probably favorites to win it this year. But is that a fit that you think could elevate Matt Stafford to a season beyond what he had last year?
I think it protects them a little bit. Look, Devontae Adams had a great year, but he's not young. Puka Nacua has been a fantastic player. He's been pretty banged up. And, there's some, kind of whispers of maybe some off the field concerns as a contract situation. So I think that, protecting yourself with a guy that is versatile as Deebo, isn't crazy. And then I think the other side of it with Deebo is, he's kind of this dirty work wide receiver, right? Like, he's a guy that you can throw the ball to in perimeter screens at the line of scrimmage. He's not afraid to block. He's, he's crossing routes and things, over the middle, good run after the catch, that type of stuff kind of fits what the Rams like and have looked for. And so, when you consider that, that's why, the Rams feel like they could be a fit.
Tim, when it comes to the Rams as well on the defensive side of the ball, it seems like the conversations about Aaron Donald potentially coming out of retirement are kind of picking up traction a little bit. Do you see that actually happening, or is that just going to stay smoke in the air?
But this feels like where there's smoke, there's fire, doesn't it?
It does. It really does.
Does it feel that way? I mean, that's what it feels like to me. And I don't have any information, but look, when Aaron Rodgers was throwing at UCLA with DK Metcalf, I was kind of like, he's still playing. Like, quarterbacks, 40-year-old quarterbacks don't put cleats on and throw routes, drop back and throw routes if they're not planning on playing. Like when everyone was trying to figure out if Favre was going to play or not, it was
right.
like, oh, see if he's still throwing. If he's still throwing, he's going to play. Because when you get to that age, throwing hurts. So, look, for Aaron Donald, I don't know. He loves working out. Seems like he's always loved working out. Evidently, he works out at, the team's facility. I guess what I would say is, what kind of workout is he doing? Is he on the executive workout plan, or, is he putting cleats on and changing direction? If he's putting cleats on and changing direction, I would feel like there's a pretty good shot that he's playing football once again.
Yeah, I saw a video online of him walking the practice facility, or I guess walking the fields. I don't know if it was barefoot or with cleats, but then there was also more context clues of Myles Garrett posting, just settling in LA, and it was a framed, I guess, jersey of Aaron Donald on his wall. So it just seems like you said, where there's smoke, there's fire. I'm kind of in the boat that I think it's going to happen. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, it feels that way. It feels like too many people have been talking about it for it not to be a thing. And then that would be something. Now, look, I think it's hard to have especially at a combat position, to have time off and think that you come back and not skip a beat. But he was, when some people, it's like a running back that gets into his 30. There are a few guys that are in rarefied air. Like Derrick Henry's been that at running back.
Sure.
I would think that Aaron Donald would kind of be like that at D-line.
Yeah, and kind of sticking with the NFC, I don't know if you heard the Dan Patrick show earlier this week, but he had Kevin O'Connell on. They were talking about the quarterback position, and it was so Dan Patrick of him say, yeah, we all know JJ is going to be, or I'm sorry. We all know that, Kyler Murray is going to be the starting quarterback.
Yeah.
And obviously, Kevin O'Connell did not appreciate that. Just gave him the look like, come on, man. But again, on the same wavelength of speculation, it does seem that way of Kyler Murray is going to be the quarterback, right?
I mean, it feels like it. It's kind of like there's smoke, there's fire. There was so much excitement about, Kyler Murray going there. It seemed like he was targeted by the Vikings. Seemed like he wanted to be there. Maybe he knew about the situation and kind of how they felt about J.J. McCarthy. So, yeah, I mean, look, I do think it's like no different than Daniel Jones going to the Colts. I think that signing was kind of an admission by the organization that, hey, maybe this isn't really working out with Anthony Richardson, injury or otherwise. It's just not working out. And so, we need to do something about it. That's what it feels like to me with, what's potentially happening in Minnesota. It just feels like this is kind of an admission that maybe we didn't get this right.
Tim Hasselbeck is with us. Tim, what are your thoughts on the Seattle Seahawks selling for $9.6 billion? It's interesting to me because that's a team that's, it's not a massive market. It's a decent sized market,
Yep.
But they're the defending Super Bowl champions, and they immediately open up for sale right after they win the Super Bowl. So what are your thoughts on that massive sale?
Yeah, I mean, it just goes to show you how much money because of these TV contracts and, of how much these organizations are worth. And you're exactly right. Look, Seattle's it's not necessarily a small market, but they do not get the attention that other markets get. Like my brother played there for 12 years, and there was, almost a joke at the time, that he played in Southern Alaska, right? It's just, you don't get there is a bit of an East Coast bias, and you don't get nearly, the same type of attention that, other organizations get. But that being said, look, you're one of the 32, and the NFL is certainly king right now. And yeah, as an organization, they have had some success, and that does help the value of your franchise. So, look, it's a massive number. It's hard for me to even get my brain around that's what we're talking about. But yeah, I mean, look, the valuation is definitely, and the income and the profit is growing faster than the labor costs. I can tell you that. And so, that's why they've been attractive. And really the only reason they sold was, Paul Allen passed away. His sister took over the organization. It's not really something that she's, knowledgeable or passionate about. And so, but she's not saying she's forced to sell it, but she kind of had to sell it.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure that the money is going to end up all going to charity. And so it's just a very unique situation where I don't think that it was, I don't think it was hey, this is just going this is out to auction and we're going just to the highest bidders. I don't think there was as many suitors as there could have been. And I think there would be for other franchises that didn't have such a unique situation.
ESPN NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck has been our guest here on the Chase and Big Joe show. He joins us every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Tim, thanks for the time as always. We'll talk to you next week.
You got it. See you, fellas.
See you, Tim. Thank you to Tim Hasselbeck for joining us.
Should have told him, hey, thanks for his brother Matt for following the show. I mean,
yeah,
he's the man.
Yeah.
Let's just put it. His brother Matt is socially aware on Twitter.
He is locked in, as the kids say.
He loves the show.
He fan of the show. Who doesn't love the show?
Everyone does. It's
And-
a 3-hour cab ride.
It's a 3-hour lunch, as they say.
Sure.
615-737-1025 is the phone number. We'll react to some of what Tim had to say coming up next. Plus, Quarterback Season 3 is out. I haven't watched it yet. I don't think you've watched it
I
yet.
have not. I totally forgot today was the 14th.
Yeah, I haven't had the time just because I'm here a lot and working with other people, which I love. But at the same time, I don't have the time that the 3 guys that come on after this show have. So
Yeah.
I haven't watched it yet.
If I find a little time, I might give a glance at
I'll
it.
try and squeeze an episode in.
It's what
tonight.
Joe Flacco, Cam Ward, Jaden Daniels, right?
Mhm.
And
Baker,
Mayfield. I'm in.
which I'm excited for Baker Mayfield.
I'm in.
We'll discuss expectations, what we expect to see from Cam Ward in the show coming up next here on the Chase and Big Joe show on 102.5 The Game. One of the most underrated hits of all time by Huey Lewis in the News. Welcome back in, Chase and Big Joe here on 102.5 The Game. Connor, Nute, Nick Frazier filling in for Chuck and JoJo. Chase McCabe, I think, is almost done whittling candles in his office.
Love it.
He will rejoin at 2. Also, we will be joined by Jeff Jarrett in the next hour for the full hour in studio. We'll get his opinion on Dark Side of the Ring, which is a documentary series on wrestling.
I watched it on Spike TV. I don't know if it's still on there or not, but
I think, yeah. Does Spike still exist?
Oh, yeah.
Does it?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I remember watching it on Spike.
Yeah, it's a Paramount affiliate. So, yeah.
Yeah. We'll probably talk a little cats with him. I have burning wrestling questions that I have to ask him.
Please.
Because this is what I do. But good conversation with Tim Hasselbeck. As always, he joins every Tuesday at 1 p.m. He had some interest. I was really interested in his thoughts about the Pittsburgh Steelers. I asked John McClain this yesterday, and he didn't go too in depth. I knew Tim would. So I asked him. I genuinely don't think they're a contender. I think they are borderline a playoff team. They may miss it. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is the Aaron Rodgers of old anymore. He doesn't elevate a team like he used to. Michael Pittman, I think, is a high-end 2, which he'll be the wide receiver 2 behind DK Metcalf. But I really just don't see anything special about this team.
I'm leaning in the camp of there is something special about this team. I still think Rodgers is one of 32 best quarterbacks in the NFL. He's just a great game manager. And I think when you get to that age of your career, when you're in your 40s, all you need to do is be a really good game manager. He has the talent around him in DK Metcalf, Michael Pittman Jr., the running backs that you have, Jalen Warren, you have Caleb Johnson, that former first-round running back. They grabbed somebody else in free agency, if I'm not mistaken. So you need to, be able to just facilitate the ball to them, make it quick, throws. But also, too, the offensive line has to step up. And I feel like that was the big issue for Aaron Rodgers last year, was that either he was holding on to the ball too long or the offensive line did not hold their blocks long enough for him to throw the ball. So if they can kind of get that chemistry down, I think maybe this might be the year for that. I would consider them a true playoff team. Maybe they win 10 games. I think 10 games is a manageable number for them to get to.
Yeah.
But when it comes to Rodgers, I mean, I can see what you're talking about. Like the regression. The regression from him. I still think he's still one of the best, even though he's not at the top form anymore.
See, I think he's just delaying the inevitable for that franchise. Eventually, they're going to have to draft a quarterback and do it high.
I still think Will Howard's the guy. I do. I know some people may not think that way. I know Tim and I were on the same boat as that he still likes Will Howard. So
I don't see it with a 7th round pick like Will Howard. I mean, you draft Drew Aller, he doesn't move the needle for me really either. I feel like if they're going to get their quarterback, it's going to have to be someone pretty high. I don't know if they do it this next draft. Like, are they bad enough to where they can go get Arch Manning or go get, because on paper, we said this last year and it wasn't, but on paper, this is a pretty good quarterback draft. You've got Moore. You've got Manning. Sam Levitt might be in there. Chambliss. Who wants to take a shot at Brendan Sorsby? I don't know.
Maybe you add Minson into that.
Maybe. We'll see. But on paper, this is a pretty good college quarterback prospect pool. So, they're going to have their pick of the litter if they're bad. I just don't know if they're going to make that move considering they just spent a 3rd round pick on a quarterback.
I just look at the Drew Aller pick as a lateral move, as insurance. I don't think he fits the system that, Pittsburgh already has set in stone. And it's just a pocket passing quarterback. I don't see Drew Aller as that. I see him as more of a mobile quarterback. Am I incorrect with that assessment? I mean, I would consider him more of a dual threat mobile quarterback. I mean, he just has to adjust to the NFL game. Maybe they're just get a little bit more meat on his bones. That's the case. But when it comes to a guy like Will Howard, I like his presence in the pocket. I like the way his exchanges with the ball to the wide receivers. Just it's quick. I don't know. I guess I'm high on Will Howard, but there's something to be said about Mike McCarthy rejoining with Aaron Rodgers and having a guy like Will Howard who kind of fits that mold of that pocket passing quarterback. He can.
Bengals are going to be a lot better this year than they were last year if they can stay healthy. The Steelers, like Tim said, I think they're kind of, at least on paper, the number 3 team in that division. We all know who number 4 is. We don't have to talk about the Browns. But there are people on the text line right now saying I'm crazy because, I don't love the Steelers this year. Maybe their defense is a lot better. I'm sure it probably is, but you still have to be able to score points, and you still have to play in a tough conference like the AFC that is just filled with great quarterbacks and great defenses.
But that's the beauty of Aaron Rodgers, though. When you have to score points, I mean, we kind of saw in that one game where he threw it in the back left corner. I'm trying to think of the wide receiver, number 19, slot wide receiver. It was that back corner fade.
Scotty Miller.
Yeah, was it Scotty Miller? Yeah.
White guy?
It was one of the slot wide receivers. It was to win the game. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, the late game.
I forget the name, but I know the play you're talking about.
But anyways, like when you need him to make those key plays, he's going to make them. And I just think having a game manager like that, you don't have to put up 35 points games. Sure, they're not pretty wins of like a 10-7 win, but yet that's why you have a guy like Rodgers there for that reason. That's just me. I think having that knowledge as a veteran player, as your quarterback, leads you to so many more opportunities than having an experienced quarterback. And I'm not going to include Cam Ward into this conversation because he has a year under his belt, and he actually, I think, fits the system the Titans are trying to put out on the field, and that's with young talent.
Yeah, you mentioned something about Will Howard there, Frazier, and I think it's interesting just because I think that people probably have forgotten a bit about Will Howard. I'm not as in love with him as a quarterback maybe as you are. Drew Aller seems like he's more of a project. Apparently in May, they've been trying to rebuild all of his mechanics from the ground up. So I think that tells me he's probably not seeing the field for at least 2 years.
Right.
I actually think I have a theory, though. There's a certain quarterback in Tampa Bay that's been pretty vocal saying that his contract negotiations are going well. And if there's a quarterback that I think could fit that system and would probably love to see Cleveland twice a year, Pittsburgh makes a lot of sense for Baker Mayfield, in my opinion.
I don't know.
It makes sense.
I mean, logically, yeah.
I think he ends up back in Tampa Bay. I think they eventually get a deal done, but he would fit that system pretty nicely.
Yeah.
Maybe next year, not this year.
No, not this year. But I mean, he made it pretty clear, what was it, last month, that I'm not talking a deal once we get to training camp. That's in 2 weeks.
It's true.
So that's got to get done quick. And Uritz's putting him out in free agency. I mean, if I'm Pittsburgh, shell the money out at him.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about the first round pick. You have the two guys behind him who are young, who can continue to develop. You don't have to bank on them. And Baker Mayfield is maybe not elite, but he's a good quarterback who we've seen can go out and get you 11 wins a year.
But please write us a book report on this.
Will do.
But doesn't that just continue the narrative for the Steelers, and that's just patching the hole with a Band-Aid?
I don't think it does. I mean, Baker Mayfield, before the shoulder injury last year, we were talking about him as a legitimate MVP frontrunner.
Yeah.
I think that if you give him the structure, he will be able to elevate that team further. I think that he right now is better than what you have in Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, but at the same time, you look at Tampa Bay, they fumbled, pun intended, they fumbled that division last year, and Carolina took that over. And I would put that on the shoulders of Baker Mayfield. So if that's the case,
got hurt too.
Yeah, but
so did Mike Evans, and Emeka Ibuka was playing through some injuries.
Chris Godwin can't play more than 3 games a year.
If Tampa Bay is healthy, I think that is a 12-win team minimum, and we aren't even talking about Carolina.
Okay,
I actually do really like that take.
Okay,
I could totally see Baker going to Pittsburgh. I think he finds his way back to Tampa Bay this year, but if they're in QB hell next year in Pittsburgh, maybe we see some things happen. I actually do really like that. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. Coming up next, Nick Frazier would like to rant about the UFC. We'll do that coming up next, right here on 1025 The Game. Welcome back in. Chase and Big Joe here on 102.5 The Game. Connor, Nute, Nick Frazier in with you today. This past weekend, a return of the Mac, shall we say. Conor McGregor returns to the UFC octagon and lasts 1 minute and 9 seconds before being injured again. And Nick Frazier would like to rant about this. Take it away, Dr. Gray.
Thank you very much, Connor Newt. As everybody knows, I'm a big MMA fan here in the office. I think it's one of the most pure sports ever created by the gladiators, of course. But when it comes to Conor McGregor and Dana White and the whole, what is it called, a PLE, the paid live event? Is that what
Premium live event.
Premium live event.
Premium live event.
You look at those, and obviously it is off of viewership. You have to make sure you have enough subscribers and all that stuff to really get your money back on investment. With previous events, it's pay-per-view events. So you pay your $80, $90, whatever it is per pay-per-view, and that's how you're making your money.
Yep.
Well, like you said, 1 minute and 9 seconds? Conor McGregor was done, and he collected $25 million. And to me, if you have to make sure you're building up an event like this, that knee that basically dislocated itself and probably tore his ACL and some other ligaments.
I think he was hurt before.
Exactly. I think he was hurt before, which again, no discredit to the rest of the fight card. I thought Luke Riley, who is a up-and-coming MMA fighter, fought on the, I believe it was the undercard, the prelims, knocked him out. Fantastic. Gable Stevenson, who's former, Olympic gold medalist.
WWE legend.
And
Gable Stevenson.
Buffalo Bills preseason legend as well.
Guy's done it all.
First match of fight of his UFC career, knocks him out, TKO, and it was in good fashion. But there were a lot of highlights. You saw Paddy Pimblett kind of come back to full force of what he was earlier on in his career, taking on this welterweight division with BDS, and that was the Frenchman. I keep forgetting his name, but BDS. So with a spider guillotine, and that to me shows that I've never seen a spider guillotine before in my life. But the fact that Paddy did that in the first round that quick was impressive. That to me, obviously that was a co-main event, but to me, that was the highlight of the night. Another thing to all this is Michael Chandler. There's no need for him to be the backup MMA fighter in this case. He showed up at the weigh-ins to weigh in as the alternate fighter if one person were to go down, and that was either McGregor or Holloway. More than likely, he was anticipating Holloway because he wants his rematch with McGregor. Now, to that point, McGregor has one more fight on his contract with the UFC before I guess he calls it quits or whatever it may be. Max Holloway at the end of the fight said inside the octagon, "Let's run it back, fans. Holloway, McGregor, part 3. He obviously, that probably will happen. That's the first name that comes up. But then there's Michael Chandler. If Conor McGregor sees the opportunity that maybe fighting Max Holloway is not the best way to end your career and you're going to get knocked out, go take the Michael Chandler fight. Just go do it.
Yeah.
And you can still hype that up. It just would not be a numbered event. I think it would be on something that's a little bit more special. Obviously, Michael Chandler fought on the UFC Freedom 250 card. Did not do great. Obviously got knocked out. But it's just, it was a fluky situation. I think Dana White knew about this on Monday going into the fight week. And if you go back and look in Conor McGregor's career, there was also a documentary on it on Netflix when there was a fighter that, I think it was Jose Aldo, that hurt his rib cage or hurt something in his training. And they said, well, what do you want to do? And this was early on in Conor's career. He's like, I'm going to fight this weekend. I just got to find out who I'm going to fight, along with fight in September. That's early in his career. He's fighting 2 fights because of an injury. Now, because of this, with his injury, he's got 1 fight left. You wonder where it's going to be, what's going to happen to his career. That knee is probably going to take a while. I don't think UFC fans are going to wait around for Conor McGregor to come back and fight, I'd say this year. It's probably going to be next year. And if it is next year, the welterweight division is not going to wait on that. You have Ilia Topuria that's waiting in the ranks to get his revenge on Justin Gaethje. Justin Gaethje's not going to fight Ilia Topuria. He's probably going to fight Paddy Pimblett because Paddy Pimblett wants that belt.
Yeah.
And Paddy Pimblett's always wanted to be a champion of the UFC. That welterweight division is a lot of fun to watch. It's something everybody needs to keep their eye on. But there's a lot of young fighters in that division, and you wonder, is Conor McGregor going to make his return at the age of 37 and just go out on a high note? I'd say no, but it's going to be on one of those non-numbered events, and it's going to be with somebody that, he's had a feud with for a while.
Can I ask you a dumb question?
No, it's not a dumb question.
Just because I don't know. If Michael Chandler was ready and available, why didn't they just throw him out there when McGregor went down and have a fight there?
That's a great question. I think because the fight was already sanctioned as a real fight, the fact that he was in the octagon, they both, the bell was already rung. You can't kind of be substituted in for somebody else, if that makes sense.
Okay.
It has to be done before the fight. And with bringing that up, I kind of want to get back to the synopsis of why I'm ranting about Conor McGregor. If you watch his walk-in and you go back online and watch his camp that's behind him, it was an eerie feeling. Like, it wasn't the Conor McGregor of old where he had this high and mightiness of him, where he had his little swagger walk.
Yeah.
He had the Irish flag around him, which is obviously so.
That's his thing.
But the look on his face walking into the octagon and walking down to the octagon, it didn't look like the old Conor McGregor. It looked like the business version of Conor McGregor. It just, there was a form of concern on his face. Eyes don't lie. Remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Eyes do not lie. And I think Conor McGregor's eyes did not lie. Once he got in the octagon, he did his little strut that he always does, and he was in the corner. And then right behind him on that TV camera, you saw Dana White. Dana White was not smiling. Dana White was, I would say, concerned, because I think he knew. And then at the end of the whole match, at the end of all of it, they had the press conferences. For some weird reason, Dana White comes back up to the podium 8 minutes after it was over with and clarifies he didn't really know much about Conor's injury pre-existing or whatever it may be. To me, that's a little fishy. That tells me that he knew something. So again, I'm not trying to, bash mouth anybody, UFC, whatever, because I love the sport, but I just think there was something under the radar. And because it was such a big event and there's so much hype around it, so much money involved, they couldn't pull it. They could not pull this card. People have been waiting for 10 years, 13 years for this fight. So it just is unfortunate that it happened, but I don't know. I don't know where Conor goes from here. It's just unfortunate.
Thomas in Nashville on our text line. Nick and Connor, did you guys see Jack Hager, a.k.a. Jack Swagger, get knocked TF out in the slap fighting league?
Yes.
It was ugly. Yes.
I texted you about that.
It was hilarious.
I said Jack Swagger. I was like, wait a minute. This former WWE guy. And
yeah.
I mean,
We the people.
He got slapped out pretty cold.
I mean, his eyes rolled to the back of his head.
That's one thing I cannot watch is power slap, because it's just so, you're up on the table, you're holding onto a pool noodle behind your back, and you go, what bang. I can't watch that.
I can watch the clips. I will not sit down and watch a live stream of it.
No.
It's too I feel the pain with them. Not that I've ever participated in power slap, but I can't do it.
I'd rather watch Zuffa boxing than power slap. It's all under the same umbrella.
What is Zuffa boxing?
It's a boxing league that I believe Dana White has investments in, and it's his league. So, good for him. But no, that's just my little rant about the UFC. There was something fishy about it. I didn't like it one bit. I think this is something that should have been taken to higher action. They should have been able to do something about it. But, that's just me.
Okay. Caleb on our text line says, come on, man. He wasn't hurt. If you follow MMA, like you say, you would know that kind of injury or any injury can happen at any moment. He doesn't need the money. He wanted to fight for his legacy.
That is all right. So it's partially true what you're saying there, Caleb, in my opinion. I still think there was a pre-existing injury that he may have had in his camp. If it was a week out or 2 weeks out, whatever it may be. I think because there was so much money invested into this card, Conor McGregor collected $25 million. And again, back to my initial point about the PLEs and the pay-per-views. With PLEs, you have to make sure you have enough streaming watching on Paramount. You have to have enough subscribers to really get your ROI back, because that's kind of how it works for the most part, from what I understand. Then you have your pay-per-view events. From what I've read online, it seems like the United States is the only country that does not have to pay for the pay-per-view events. It's the other countries outside of it. So that's what I know.
I don't know. It was fishy to me, but there was a point when he's making his entrance. If you watch his knee, it buckles a little bit
when he's getting off his shoes
and
taking
his flip flops.
Yes, in the not weigh-in area, but where they had to put the Vaseline on his face and all that for the fighting. Yeah, he trips out of his shoes. You could say it was just a trip, but there was a little something to that because he started jumping around, and then once he got in the octagon, and I don't know if anybody paid attention to this, but he started
favoring that knee.
Well, not just that, but before the bell even rang, he was moving his feet backwards like a bull. You know how they charge at people? He was doing that with his feet like he was a basketball player trying to get his traction.
Yeah.
Even before the fight began. And then you come out of the gates with a flying knee. that's really going to hurt you. I mean, and sure enough, it did. It ultimately ended the fight. But then, he tried to kick off that leg and he just fell immediately because there was no support. But if you go back and look, that's kind of where you see his traction of his feet try to get under him, and it just never came to.
Yeah, I'm not a huge UFC guy. I did moderately pay attention to that fight because it was really big.
Yeah,
and
the notorious Conor McGregor. I mean,
that's he was big when I was a kid. So
going back and looking at all the Nate Diaz and Conor McGregor like trilogy, that was the best of the UFC for Conor McGregor because those were bloodbaths. That's what everybody was attracted to, was watching those fights. Obviously, the Dustin Poirier and the whole Michael Chandler storylines, those are great, but there was something about that Diaz McGregor. Just
is McGregor more talk than fight at this point?
Now he's 37, yeah, and he's a really good promoter. He's doing his best wrestling promotions right now. I mean,
make the call, Paul.
Yeah, really, make the call. Seriously,
it'll be a new era.
They're all under the TKO group. Might as well.
Yeah,
this is what we do.
Yeah. Anyways,
I think that would really help WWE. It really would.
Oh, it
would really skyrocket that market.
I agree with that. Actually, I don't know how he would be able to handle himself in the ring. Probably not well, but.
I mean, Ronda Rousey did pretty good, right? No?
She was also like a horrible human being. So,
just in the wrestling ring, not correct.
So I don't know if Conor McGregor is much better of a person.
Well, I don't know. I mean, they're both former MMA fighters. You never know. Well, Conor's not a former, but he said he wants to fulfill his UFC contract, so he has one more fight. We'll see what happens.
We'll see him in 5 years.
McGregor would probably be like a lesser version of what you have in Logan Paul.
Yep.
He's disliked actually in real life, so he would immediately become one of the best heels they have. However, I do not think that he would be able to have the in-ring ability that Logan Paul has, which, say what you want about Logan Paul, he has taken the business seriously, has actually become a very good in-ring talent. I don't know if McGregor's body would allow him to do that.
Well, that's the thing is when you look at McGregor, yeah, was a welterweight, and it was, I believe, Max Holloway's first welterweight fight of his career, but he can gain weight easy. I mean, if you go back and look at when he was not fighting in the UFC for the last 10 to 12 years, 13 years, he was probably around 200 or at least 185 or something like that. I mean, so that to me, it just goes to show you that he can cut weight anytime. A wrestler's a wrestler, an MMA fighter's an MMA fighter. They can cut weight. They can gain weight. Like Dustin Poirier right now is not fighting. And he said in a fight interview that, yeah, if I were to come back, I wouldn't be fighting in the welterweight division. It'd be more of like 175 range, 180. So that's something to tell you that these guys have been doing it for 20 plus years, and they just want to, fight in a different division, which is respectable.
615-737-1025. Final hour of the program coming up. Jeff Jarrett has had to push to 2:30, but he will join us next hour. I believe Chase McCabe is done making candles in his office.
Love it.
He will rejoin the program coming up next. We'll reset our question of the day. Dr. Crane, are you departing?
I am departing. I appreciate the time today. It's been a lot of fun.
Well, good luck to you.
Thank you.
Everything works out for you.
I will keep the listeners updated.
We are praying for you.
Thank you very much.
And your family. And I'll probably see you tomorrow, I guess.
You will.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm here the rest of the week.
Okay.
This is my job. Okay. I have no vacation. This is a job.
No days off for Dr. Crane. We'll have more coming up next here on the Chase and Big Joe Show on 102.5 The Game.
Hour number 3, Chasing Big Joe, 102.5 The Game on this Tuesday. What's going on? Chase McCabe finally here with you. Had some suit stuff. Connor Nute, Brandon Bigsby. You guys holding it down in here?
Yeah, we told everyone you were making candles.
Yeah, we got a bunch made.
Serenity by Chase.
Serenity by Chase. That is a new brand that is coming out. So I had to take care of a few things. When you're gone for a week and a half, like it's great, but then you come back and everything you didn't do is still waiting on you.
Believe it or not, that is how things work.
So it's
that's why I just don't leave.
Yeah, I know. I need it though. But so that's why I was just like, you know what? I'm going to let the boys handle it. They're perfectly capable and I'll get some stuff done.
Yeah.
And so,
well, one of your textures that I think was Ricky got me.
I heard.
Made me say a bad word.
Yeah, no, I heard. Don't worry. I heard about that.
Yeah, I know.
Well done.
Yeah. No, it's not well done. Well done by him.
Well,
not by me. I'm usually good about that stuff because I've been trained by Joe doing it all the time to usually catch it.
Yeah, well.
And then it wasn't Joe. Like, have you seen Joe's name on the text line lately?
No, I don't even know.
I'll tell you later.
He gets me sometimes with it.
It's mostly for Rex Road.
Yeah, well,
Rex Road is baited every single time.
Rex Road needs that. That's not Ricky.
Is it not?
No.
It's just someone?
No.
Ricky tweeted at me,
no.
so he must have just been listening.
No, he was listening because he texted me, but now Dustin's telling on you. He's telling me.
Dustin, yeah, I know. It was a total accident.
Well, yeah. Have you seen those videos on like YouTube and Instagram of they're in like a Walmart and they're like, hey, I can't find my little brother or little sister, and they tell them a name or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it is.
That we can't say.
Yeah.
It's that and the people that go to like baseball games and they'll be like, hey, who's the greatest New York Met of all time? Randy Orton or Drake?
Oh, yeah.
And people will fall for it.
Yeah. They'll just say names. 615-737-1025 is our phone and text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. If you want to text appropriately and say things we can actually read, even though the things we can't read are usually pretty funny on the air. I'm sure you guys have talked about this. I did not watch one pitch of the home run derby last night.
Really?
Yeah.
I watched the whole thing.
How was it?
It was okay. I mean, the format's cool.
Was Netflix cool?
No.
No.
They had some horrible pitching angles or camera angle. Like they had 75 different cameras. And I was like, in the old days, you only had 3, right? You had one right behind home plate, and then you had 2 on the third baseline and the first baseline.
Yeah.
They had like 85 different angles this time, and they would always somehow miss the ball every single time. So, I mean, you could obviously tell what was going on. We're technologically and, smart enough to figure that out. But there was still like, I want to see the ball go into the crowd. I don't need to see kids on the other side of the stadium reacting to the ball. I want to see the ball go out to left field. It was okay.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
I just like, I don't know. It's fun. But like,
it's too long.
All-Star games to me, and like I know is the MLB All-Star game the last great All-Star game? Probably so. But like, if somebody said to me, "Hey, All-Star games are going away," I'd be like, "Fine."
Yeah,
like it really wouldn't bother me.
The MLB is right now, I think, is the last good one. The NHL hasn't had a real All-Star game in a couple of years.
But I do like what they're like, the NHL embracing how much people love the Olympics and they're
doing it again. Well, they're doing like the 3-on-3 international thing this year, I think.
Yeah, it's going to be similar to the Four Nations, but it's going to include basically Russia.
Yeah.
Which
is good.
The rest of the world.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to, is it 3-on-3 or are they doing?
I think it's 3-on-3.
Okay. I don't like that.
Yeah.
But, I liked what they did before the Olympics. They did
the Four Nations.
The Four Nations.
Yeah, it was awesome.
That was awesome. So I think that's cool. I mean, I'm a NASCAR fan. The All-Star race has completely jumped the shark. Like what used to make it cool was it was at Charlotte every year. that was when everybody had different paint schemes. So they had the special paint schemes. It was at night. Now you got different paint schemes every week because you got different sponsors. They're going to different places. Now, if they did it like at the fairgrounds or something, that'd be cool. But I'm, you know, Brando, I know you're a NASCAR guy too. I'm just like, if they got rid of it and added a 37th points race, I'd rather them do that.
I'd be fine, or as much as I hate to admit it as a fan, give them the week off. They only get one real off week during the season that lasts 9 to 10 months. I mean, give them a rest if you have to.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. That is fair too. So
does it mean anything?
No.
Okay.
It's $1 million if you win. The Pro Bowl is a joke.
It's not even an all-star game anymore at this point.
And like using he's got 6 Pro Bowls as a stat, like that means nothing. That used to mean something, but it doesn't anymore.
No, I look at
like, oh great, he's been voted to the flag football game 6 times, or
Sanders.
He's been like he can go play hopscotch. Brian Callahan would love it.
Oh yeah, that's his wheelhouse. Have you watched Quarterback yet?
No, not yet.
Okay,
I know it just came out today. So.
Adam's gonna get on me here in about 30 minutes for not watching my.
I know. I laughed, and Adam, if you're listening, this is in total jest, but he like told you guys like, hey, make sure everybody watches it. It just came out today. Like, what am I supposed to watch it?
In their defense, they have a lot more time.
Well, that's true. They could watch it this morning.
I mean, they have this morning. They're here for 3 hours a day, and then they're gone. You and I are here all day.
Yeah, right.
So I don't have the time. I might try to sneak an episode in tonight or something. I do want to watch the All-Star game, but
we're gonna talk to Jeff Jarrett here in a few minutes. He had to push back, but I'm gonna watch the third part of Dark Side of the Ring tonight with Jeff and the story of TNA wrestling. But I might try and squeeze in a episode. And I will watch some of the All-Star game. I mean, I'll check it out.
See, the All-Star game in baseball, I think they've done a good job of bringing it back to the nostalgia. Like they go out in all their actual uniforms now, and the players only play 2-3 innings and then they sub them out, but it's still like they actually play. It means something. It's not like the NBA where they just go out there and do nothing. So
right, that's
why I like it.
Dustin says, you guys give me crap all the time about my potty mouth. I do not. That is not true. Here we are. I don't hide it. One guy goes incognito, and now we say the ultimate. Some little boy asking dad, what is a blank?
A thing that I accidentally said. Yeah.
Dustin, we love you. You're one of the regulars, and we appreciate it. No, I laughed. I mean, look,
I'm embarrassed.
It's live radio. You never know. Well, I've probably played it for you before. But when the Predators made the trade for Kyle Turris, I'm doing the update, and we're, unlike you guys that record them and play the same one for 4 hours, I did them live because I'm awesome.
Well, most of them don't even do them anymore.
Yeah.
I'm the only one
that's going to be addressed. Don't worry. But anywho, I was doing it live and like saying what they got, and I go, I was trying to say there were more picks involved, and I accidentally put an R in between the P and the I in picks and said something else live.
I thought you were gonna have a Pete Weber.
No,
Terry
and
Chris
Darren McFarland sitting right here and kind of looks at me like, what did you just say? and I throw to a clip of David Poyle. I couldn't finish the update. I was laughing so hard. And Pete Weber actually texted me right away and said, send me that for his, I don't know if you've ever heard, Pete has a blooper reel of everybody.
He's sent me a few of them.
Oh, and
of course the all-timer.
They're fantastic. The all-timer is Terry, but for me, that was, and I was just, and like we come back into the show and Darren and D-Mace are like, you okay? I'm like, no. I'm getting texts from people. What did you say?
Thankfully, no one in my family heard what I said. That's good. But
so it is, it happens. It comes with the territory, and it's all good. But
have you heard our question of the day today?
I have not.
I think you will like it.
Okay.
So we decided the question is, what is your dream concert? And there are rules to this. You get You can go anywhere. You can do anything you want, dead or alive, any genre, whatever you want to do. You get an opener, an interlude act, and a closer.
Okay.
So for me, I did Boyz II Men would open. I would have Bruno Mars be my interlude, and then Michael Jackson would be my main event.
Your headliner.
The main event.
Oh man, that's good. So I've always wanted to see Led Zeppelin.
Okay.
So Led Zeppelin. Well, if I can go dead or alive, which is Led Zeppelin, then I'm gonna have. Ooh, man, this is tough.
Yeah, I know.
Give me as the opener. Let me have. I mean, I feel bad making this band opener, but give me the Who.
Okay.
I'm going like full British here. Led Zeppelin would then be in between.
Yeah.
And the headliner would be the Beatles.
Okay. I'm glad you didn't hear what I said about the Beatles earlier.
Well, I know a lot of people your age and then Robbie Stanley don't like the Beatles, but I
respect them. We wouldn't have a lot of what we have today if it wasn't for them. It's just their music is just not for me.
Okay. Well, that's fine.
But I'm not going to say I outwardly hate them.
Yeah.
Because I don't.
That's a good question, though. 615-737-1025. Jeff Jarrett going to join us at the bottom of the hour. You know, of course, this Sunday we'll have live coverage of the Bruschetta Bourbon Music City Grand Prix at the Nashville Super Speedway. You can listen starting at 5, and all of that brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, and Big Shots in downtown Nashville. I would assume you guys have not given these tickets away yet.
We have.
Oh, you have?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, there we go. I will not be doing that.
I'm on top of things, boss.
Yes, you are.
You know me.
I'm so proud of you. We'll have more coming up next. Chasing Big Joe, 105 The Game. The Who bringing us back. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5 The Game. I mean, it's hilarious. Like, I say that, and you're playing this, and then a text I just got that, I mean, I guess I can say it. I think we're going to get Roger Daltrey on the show. So
how does that even happen?
I don't know. That's amazing. That is absolutely amazing. But yeah, so that's a good one. Jeff Jarrett going to join us in about 10 minutes. Talk some Nashville Cats. Obviously, he's a controlling partner with the Cats. They are in the playoffs. They don't play again for a couple weeks because they're the number 1 seed. And so we'll talk about that and have a little announcement with that. And also Dark Side of the Ring, the third part on Vice TV, comes out tonight that Jeff is heavily featured in. And it's called Jeff Jarrett and the Fight for TNA Wrestling. Very good. If you haven't seen the first 2 parts, go check them out and then watch all 3 because it is very, very well done.
How many parts is it total?
3.
Okay, so this is it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And they set up at the end of the second episode, they set up what happens with this one, brother. So
can I ask him about that? Can I ask him about working with Hulk?
Of course.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm always interested in brother.
Yeah. I mean, look, I respect Jeff's vulnerability in this because I mean he's opening up about a lot of stuff. And I've been lucky enough to know Jeff for about 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And it's cool. It's cool to see behind the curtain of that business.
Yeah.
And I mean, one of the things I'm going to ask him is, like, are any of you guys friends? Like, because I feel like real life and wrestling, like, there's always backstabbing and.
Well, that era too. Like, it was him, Hulk, Ric Flair got in there at some point with TNA.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah.
Sting was there. Kurt Angle,
Jeff
Hardy.
They brought in
Steiner was there. Scott was there.
Yep.
He was Big Papa Pump there. The Dudleys.
Yeah.
Or at least Bubba was.
They both were. The Outlaw. They were called Team 3D. The Outlaws.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, they were all there. I mean, X-Pac, Hall, Nash. Yeah. I mean, and the funny thing was, and Jeff kind of talks about this, is with Dixie Carter, it truly became WCW again.
Yeah.
Like,
because that was right after
history repeated itself.
That was right after Ruthless Aggression. Or maybe during.
That was Ruthless. That was during it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the whole thing was, and the third part's supposed to cover this, but Hogan comes in, the ratings had done really well on Thursday nights or whatever it was on. They want to restart the Monday Night Wars. So they move to Monday nights to go head to head with Raw.
Yeah. And
TNA's on Spike at this point. Raw had gone back to USA. And they get absolutely boat raced.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a dumb move, and it set them way back. And I remember when they did it, and I was like, this is a terrible idea.
Yeah.
Like, and that's why AEW has worked, because they don't try to they're not trying to they're competing, but they're trying to be an alternative more than, hey, we want to go beat, at the time, Vince.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to beat, you weren't going to beat Vince then. You're not going to beat WWE now.
Yeah. Is he going to be here in a couple weeks, Jeff?
Yes.
With AEW?
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other, like, I watched this too, and you're probably a little too young. I'm sure you know who this guy is, but I cannot stand Vince Russo.
Oh, yeah. Well, I watched that. I've seen countless Monday Night Wars document, but the one where I really could not stand him was the Who Killed WCW one, where he literally just booked himself as whatever.
I think there are a lot of people holding the dagger on that one, but
yeah,
but
bro.
No, he's heavily featured in this. So
he still won't shut up.
Yeah, well, I mean, he makes money doing it. So. Yeah. So again, we'll talk a little wrestling with Jeff coming up. To the question of the day, 1382 says Jimi Hendrix, original members of Chicago, and then Earth, Wind, and Fire for their concert. Tim in Nashville says this is tough. Muddy Waters opening, Stevie Ray Vaughan interlude, Jimi Hendrix closing.
Oh, I love Steve. I love
That'd be
both
good.
of them.
Yeah.
Stevie Ray Vaughan goes unnoticed sometimes, I feel like his guitar work. I mean, Hendrix is better on the guitar, but Stevie Ray is right up there, in my opinion.
Dustin in Hopkinsville, you were feisty today, sir. He goes, you guys don't know wrestling. DDP, Diamond Dallas Page is the greatest.
He is the second best to do his finishing move.
The first being Randall Keith Orton.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, look, DDP's pretty good, especially he didn't wrestle his first match till he was like 35.
Yeah.
So
WCW DDP is good. I'm not a huge Attitude Era.
So here's a fun fact. Have you ever watched I think it's WrestleMania 6. The main event was Hogan and Warrior.
Okay.
So there
wins.
There is a match. It's the Honky Tonk Man, and he comes to the ring in a Cadillac. And there's a guy driving the Cadillac.
Is it DDP?
It is DDP.
Yeah. There's a lot of examples. Like Cena did the whole gangster thing.
Yep.
That one entrance, and Punk was one of them.
Punk was one of the gangsters, yeah.
Samoa Joe did one in NXT where he comes out of the
It was a security guard.
Security guard, MJF.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
LA
That's
Knight
right.
was one of them too.
Yeah. So Samoa Joe is one of the guys TNA. Like I would say of the TNA originals that were like homegrown in TNA, it's AJ and Samoa Joe.
Yeah.
Are the two biggest.
Yeah. I remember watching NXT
when
Joe came out. No music, but you knew exactly who it was.
5956. Can you ask Jeff if you have time what it was like wrestling the Undertaker? Okay. We'll see if we can squeeze that in.
Okay.
Jeff Jarrett going to join us coming up next. Chasing Big Joe with Chasing Connor and Brando on 102.5 The Game. Chase and Big Joe, 102.5 The Game here on this Tuesday. Very excited about this next interview because it's always fun when we have the one and only Double J, Jeff Jarrett, join us on the show. Jeff, what's going on? How you doing?
How we doing, guys? You just said Chase and Big Joe, and Big Joe is being lazy today. Is that correct?
You know how it is. When you can get some vacation, you take it. So he's having some much deserved time off and got to go see his granddaughter. So he gets an excused absence today, I guess.
Oh, get out of here, Chase. We both know if we had Big Joe's money, we'd burn ours. That man is down on the beach somewhere. I'm kidding. Good. Let him have some R&R. How you doing today, my man?
We're doing great.
We got some Cats football to talk about, don't we?
We do. We got a lot to get into. And we'll start with that. Cats football, the number 1 seed, and a couple of weeks off before the semifinal game in the playoffs, which is going to be in Clarksville. And we're excited about that. We're also excited, as Mr. Pogue tells me, that Joe and I are going to call the game here on radio on 102.5 The Game. So hopefully the championship game as well. Got to take care of business in the semifinals. But Strike and Spare and Larry Schmitto supporting that. And we're excited to talk more Cats football and bring those games. But I know you have to be excited with your first year of involvement that number 1 seed looking really good.
Yeah, and you know what? I've had the pleasure. I'm worried about, production and game presentation and marketing and all that kind of fun stuff. I don't have to worry about what goes on in the field, but I will say this, Coach Fisher, Coach Arbette, the entire crew, but I give all the credit to the players. They're the ones that have stepped out, and, man, it's just kind of unbelievable to me the season we've had, undefeated at home. But, Chase, I will say this. I've been around sports my entire life, and we all get into the rhythm of life and rhythm to play and rhythm of the week. I'm not the biggest fan of going into not 1 but 2 weeks off as we head into the playoffs. I love that we have the bye, but, the reality is just not a real fan of that. So Clarksville in the Middle Tennessee area, we're going to need you loud and proud on that Sunday. Kind of feels like NFL Sunday early, Sunday afternoon football. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
So it's kind of funny how everything can tie together, because the other thing we wanted to talk to you about was the Dark Side of the Ring series on Vice that you were a part of, you and TNA Wrestling. How much did what you went through in the early days of founding that company and doing the production side and all of those things, how much has that helped you with what you're now doing with the Cats?
Oh, funny, Chase, that you would, it's a massive amount, and we got into it a little bit on Dark Side, and I think it's kind of unique that the AF1 games are broadcast on Vice and Dark Side. Obviously, it's the calling card of the entire network, the series, the Dark Side. But from the first time, and I think you know about this, one of the very first shows that I actually promoted was Clarksville High School. So going way, way back.
Yeah.
Promotion is in my grandmother's blood and my dad's blood, certainly in my blood. And you kind of have to learn the fundamentals. But like you said, at TNA, it took it to an entirely different level. We did a weekly, a 2-hour pay-per-view, or, we renamed the Nashville sports arena, the fairgrounds, the Asylum. But, we did a global pay-per-view every Wednesday night for over 2 years. And that is something that it's an invaluable experience, cutting my teeth, because fully responsible of getting a live program on air. You had to have the satellite, the backup satellite. Chase, I could talk forever, but it's very, very impactful on my entire life. Just kind of looking at that entire process from, really 2002 to 2009, the real formative years. And that is something, from a television deal to live events to merch to licensing to global distribution of the product, and all things in between. It was very impactful on my life.
Jeff Jarrett is with us. I think the first 2 episodes are excellent. I respect how vulnerable that, you've allowed yourself to be, Karen, your wife, allowed herself to be. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that, people probably thought they knew, but then learned, other things about. Not just about TNA, but about you as in your career. Obviously, you talking about Owen Hart made me very happy because he was one of my absolute favorites. But How surprised have you been about just how much people have enjoyed it and learning not only about TNA wrestling?
Folks, I mean, obviously, the network, man, oh man, they're overwhelmed with the positive feedback. So, I'll call it as an executive producer cap that I may put on. I wasn't the executive producer by any stretch, but I know when a network's happy, how meaningful that is. But Chase, this is such a out of the box kind of set of circumstances for me in that I've been in professional wrestling my entire life, and it's no secret. Professional wrestling is scripted entertainment. It's sports entertainment. And, which this dark side is anything but that. And so, I've lived, I don't want to really say a double life, but I've had a private life and a public life like most folks. But, I've been on television since I was 18 years old, and that, there's upside and downside to that. And a lot of people, what they've seen on television, they believe, and rightly so, that's Jeff. That's really just a part of Jeff. And so when you peel the layers of the onion back, like the dark side has, and when they reached out and wanted to do this doc, I gave it a lot of thought, and I'd been involved in other episodes of the series. And, there's unfortunately most of the episodes that are done, the folks are no longer with us. And I was been close with a couple of people that have been featured. So when they reached out to us, I had to think about it, but I'm very, I'm well aware at the amount of work that they put into these episodes. I did almost 18 hours, which it's hard to wrap your head around. I did 2 days of almost 9 hours each day of taping. And that's just me for 3 1-hour episodes. And so Karen did about 8 hours. And, that's just 2 of the 15 or 20 people that they really talk to. So a lot of work goes into it. They do their very best to tell the story, and I think they've done a wonderful job. And so I have to give the producers and the show and everything that goes with it, I got to give them the credit because they're the one that really put it all together.
How therapeutic was it for you to cover some of the, the tougher topics? I mean, you get into your relationship with your dad and how tough that was when, Dixie came in and all of that, your relationship with Dixie, how you and Karen got together. Is it therapeutic to be able to talk about all that and then go back and watch it?
It'd be hard for me to call it therapeutic, but I understand where you're coming from. On the one hand, yeah, absolutely. That the people, people may or may not know this. Dixie Carter, who is obviously a big part of this entire story. I reached out to her and tried to get her to come on the air and tell her side, if you will. But me and my father, when we reconciled, and people that are in my inner circle that lived through this. And there's some folks that are on there. I mean, Cornette lived it. All these folks different lived it. But, I've known the truth. I just haven't spoke publicly about it. The biggest deal, Chase, and this, kids are involved. And when kids are involved, they didn't sign up to have a public life. And I've always been very respectful of that. I've been on the other side of that as the son of a wrestler and know the good and the bad of that. But yes, it has definitely, I do believe that, from the texts and emails and direct messages and all that kind of stuff through social media, there are some folks that are kind of blown away. They're like, I had no idea. I thought I knew the story, but boy, oh boy, was I wrong. And so that is, as a lifetimer in this business, I just have to nod my head and say that's in a way kind of par for the course.
So I've watched the first 2 episodes with my girlfriend. She doesn't know anything about wrestling, didn't care about wrestling at all, as, sometimes girlfriends are. And she said when we finished episode 2, and I was like, Jeff's going to come on the show, we're going to talk about this. She said, tell him I thoroughly enjoyed it. And not knowing any of the history, she felt, entertained and learned a lot. And I thought that was really cool to hear somebody that doesn't know the business and doesn't know the history and how they could be, pulled into it and enjoy the show. So I wanted to pass that along.
Well, Chase, and I'm not kidding when I say this. That part of what you just shared is very meaningful to me. And the reason I say that is, and we've joked about it, FRA guys, we all go way back, and I'll say this because I'm a wrestling fan first and foremost. So I understand that set point. But there is wrestling fans that I always use this adage. For those that believe, no explanations needed. For those that don't believe, no explanation will do. And there are still people that have seen the truth and see it with their own eyes, and they can look at data and numbers, and 15 people can quote unquote corroborate the story. They're still going to believe what they want to believe, and I get that. But a non-wrestling fan to kind of hear that kind of feedback, that tells me at the very top of the list, the Dark Side of the Ring producers did their job. We told a story, and it obviously in a way was engaging. I can't say entertaining, but it was certainly engaging.
So after watching the first 2 episodes, this question popped in my head that I wanted to ask you, and that is, could things have been different if when Dixie was put in her position, she had come to you and said, "Hey, Jeff, I don't know anything about the business, but I want to learn. I want to be a part of this. I don't want to just have a title and sit to the side. Can you teach me?" If she had had that approach, do you think things could have been different?
I've said this over and over and over, and I've looked back on my life at this stage of my career, Chase, and I am, I don't have regrets because we all live and learn. But the one thing that it's glaring obvious, every relationship that has been frazzled, been broken down, goes with my father, goes with other folks I've worked with for all that. Specifically, if you're asking about Dixie, lack of communication. So I accept my role, my part in the breakdown in communication, because it got, it's almost like the old adage, a small pebble in somebody's shoe, and you keep walking. It's no big deal. 1 year goes by, 2 years go by, 3 years go by, 4 years go by, you're in trouble. You've got an infection and it's getting bad and it's spun out of control, and things happen like that. So you position that question as if she didn't ask to be taught or whatever it may be. That's not the case. I mean, we worked together from the beginning, and the directive, and we went into this, and there was so much. That's another thing. There is so many things left on the cutting room table. The entire story about Toby Keith was more or less you don't have time. The entire story about Hell South was barely mentioned on. There was another story that, it came, and, there's a story about my dad and having fallen out. The reality is the biggest single thing that my dad got frustrated is that Panda, it appeared, thought that they may want to have someone invest. Me and my father went and found folks to come in and take over and invest, and they treated them worse than dirt and shooed them away. And it told us right then that Panda wanted to continue with the investment. It went south. That was not a good set of circumstances. That was not long after that is when my dad had enough. So there's so many things left out. But the fact is, me and Dixie worked together, and it is something that it went from bad to worse. But she won't be the first, and certainly won't be the last. She wanted to run a wrestling company, and I didn't think that she had the skill set, and that's really the dividing line. And history kind of proves itself. She did the power play and lost her TV deal in 3 years and lost her company in 5. Unfortunately, that's the reality. Because this business looks very easy when it's successful, but it's just not.
Jeff Jarrett is with us. I kind of made the joke when we were watching it to my girlfriend. I go, I think this is more real life than you think, because I don't know if these guys like each other, if they're friends, if there are any friends in the business. So what are some of the relationships that, like with some of the folks we see, like Vince Russo, for instance? You go way back with him to the WWF, to WCW, to TNA. and he is about as polarizing as they come. So how would you describe that relationship?
It's fine. Not like we talk every day. We text occasionally. But Vince has gone out down his journey. In the show, it's very obvious that him and Eric Bischoff, I hate to say this word, despise each other. It's very obvious. Jim Cornette and Russo despise one another. Chase, that's as real as it gets.
Yeah. Oh, I believe it. So tonight you mentioned the power play, brother. We see Hulk Hogan, the Hulkster, is going to be involved. Connor Nute is co-hosting with me today, filling in for Big Joe, and I know he wanted to ask you a little bit about that.
Yeah, Jeff.
Bring it on, Connor. Bring it on.
I will do so. Yeah, Jeff, this is, to me, one of the most interesting eras in wrestling is when you guys at TNA decided to bring in the old guard of Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff and all the guys that worked at WCW.
I don't think Jeff decided that, but others did.
Well, yeah, the higher-ups. What do you think the goal was in bringing the old guard to TNA? Because to me and the average fan, there was more of an emphasis on those guys, the old guard, and it sort of pushed aside the young homegrown talent you had like AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, guys like that. So what was the goal in bringing that old guard in?
To get the ultimate answer, you'd have to ask Dixie Carter. It goes into, again, so much left on the cutting room floor, but she called me up when I was on my quote unquote leave of absence and said, will you go to Tampa and basically help me hire Hulk? Sure. I went and I got done with that plane ride and got off of it. Bob Carter, the head of Panda Energy International, called and my direct answer was, if we can get him to be the ambassador of the brand, this is a grand slam and we should pay him well. That was my vision. Dixie's vision was different, which I had no idea. And I'm sure there's some salesmanship from Hogan and Bischoff, because not long after they went to work for her, she essentially gave them the keys to the kingdom and they were running the show. So I think it's, in my opinion, when I look back on it, even while it was real time, I don't think Dixie understood what she got herself into. And instead of putting the shovel down, as they say, she kept digging deeper and deeper and deeper. And ultimately, it put the company in a financial death spiral, one bad decision after another. Took Impact on the road, left Orlando Studios, hired a bunch of aged talent. We could go on, but we went from a profitable company, very profitable in 2009, and by 2011, it was in the death spiral, losing money.
From a locker room perspective, Jeff, obviously you're talent, he was talent. What was the power struggle like with him, working with him on a daily basis?
You know what? It was all game face, and we, come to work, and at the end of the day, Hulk, Eric, and that entire team, they were pleasing their boss. It all rested on Dixie's shoulders. And so, it was, I don't want to call it a divided camp because people were very leery of what was going on. But at the end of the day, it was, hey, let's show up to TV and do the very best that we can. But there was so much, I'll call it locker room dissension and discussion, and we're heading the wrong direction. And it was very obvious, not far in, kind of the direction everything was headed, and just kind of the guys you mentioned, Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, Chris Daniels, just that whole crew. They were just very disheartened from the entire kind of process.
Jeff Jarrett is with us. And Jeff, obviously, for those who don't know, you are now with All Elite Wrestling, which is coming to our city. We're really excited about that. Is it freeing working for a company like that has sort of the structure that I would compare to the early days of TNA?
You know what? Before my dad passed away, I had been with AEW maybe a year, maybe not quite that. But we had that conversation. And the reason I say that is it has been the first time in my entire life, for me personally, I wear the talent cap. And that is a lot of freedom, a lot of blessing. But no, there is an incredible entrepreneurial spirit, and it comes from the very top. Tony Khan, son of Shad Khan, but Tony grew up a wrestling fan. People, if we're going to talk about this, Dixie, the very first live wrestling match she went to was TNA's first show. If you really let that soak in, that is the set point. Tony is a historian. He can tell you, I was on a plane ride with him, and I looked at him very sincerely. I said, Tony, you remember more about Memphis TVs than I do. That's the truth. But, Tony knows not just Memphis TV, WCW, ECW. He is a in-depth student of the game, if you will, because I think we all go from wrestling fans and then you start studying it. Tony, is an analytics guy, and so when you look at the Wembley success, the TBS TNT success, Globe Life Field Stadium, and the weekly grind, if you will. When you look at all that we've done at AEW, you really have to go. No matter how you want to slice and dice it, you go right up to the top. And Tony has a vision, and that is the result, I believe, of a cumulative effect of understanding the product and understanding the business.
I have to sneak this one in, Jeff, as a fan. Just how professional is The Undertaker in the ring working with him?
Mark, I mean, when you think, and I knew him as Master of Pain on Memphis, well, even before that, when me and my dad went out to Dallas in 89 and 90, Big Red, if you will, was breaking in. He came here. He went from here to WCW, and then he obviously went on to be The Undertaker. Mark, I'm a basketball player, basketball junkie. Mark is a former basketball player. So his athleticism, a lot of times it goes so unnoticed because of the attributes of the character, and slow and methodical and everything that he does in his character work, which is so good. But he's a businessman. He knows what he's doing. He knows, I've always said, what makes the most successful professional wrestler? It's when you play an extension of your personality. There is a thread of Undertaker in Mark Calloway, and it really shines bright when you go back and study his body of work, because he is the Undertaker when it's time to be the Undertaker.
He is Jeff Jarrett. Dark Side of the Ring, Part 3. Jeff Jarrett and the Fight for TNA Wrestling tonight on Vice TV. But, Jeff, we got some business with the Cats here in a couple of weeks, as we'll see who the opponent is at F&M Bank Arena on August 2nd at 3 o'clock, and you can hear that on 102.5 The Game. I know we're so pumped for that in this season, and hopefully a championship can come to Nashville and Clarksville.
Bring it home. Like I said, worried about the off weeks, but we're going to need to be loud and proud. You can go to catsfootball.com, get your tickets. But Sunday afternoon, that August 2nd, boy, oh boy, we're going to have a house full, and we better get the W, because not if, but when we do, the Crown Championship, the Arena Crown Championship, will be held the following weekend. And I'm hoping like hell, as a promoter, that we get to host AF1's championship game right here in Middle Tennessee.
Would certainly be awesome. Jeff, appreciate the time as always. I could sit and talk wrestling with you for hours, so
Yep.
Love it, and thanks for coming on.
Appreciate you guys. Thanks, Chase. Thanks, Connor. And tell Big Joe to get off the beach and cut him off at 3 pina coladas.
We will. Don't worry. Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks, guys.
Double J, Jeff Jarrett, the last outlaw, joining us, the King of the Mountain. I mean, he's had a lot of monikers over the year. And again, if you haven't watched the Dark Side of the Ring parts 1 and 2, it's fantastic. A lot of stuff. He talks about what was left on the cutting room floor. I probably have 15 more questions
I
could have thrown out there.
I still have some.
With him as well. That is going to do it for us. Connor, great job. Nick, great job. Brando, great job. We're back at it tomorrow, but DVD coming your way next here on 102.5 The Game.